Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Afternoon Tune. I'm your host, Josh, and today I got my special guest host, MJ. How's it going there, MJ?
Good, going good.
Good to hear that. MJ, it's been a minute since she's been on, but she's helped me with some reviews before. She helped me with a review for Castlevania Season 2. She also helped me with a review with, that, also some other small reviews there. And you asked for those reviews. So are you doing like a blog site or you do your own YouTube channel or?
I just did a link tree. I'm trying to like get all my like social media presence in one place. So I was like, oh, just to see like you never know who's looking. So I was like, oh, you can pop up because I graduated, so I'm trying to do like writers. So I'm looking for writing opportunities. So I was like, if I could show them like, hey, I've done like reviews before and I have other writing things, maybe I could get like a small that's not my expertise, but like a small, movie column or anything like that. It's just something to like get myself out there in the world. You know how heavy social media is in today's climate. Yeah, gotta be everywhere and everything all at once.
Mm. And these are all your links. I'll post
Yeah.
your Blue Sky right there. So from your Blue Sky, they have
Mhm.
your link tree right here. I'll post that in the description below when I upload the video there. And people can
Yep.
check out all your links to everything there that you got. Here's all the reviews you did. Castlevania, the Vince McMahon documentary. You also helped me with that. Queen of Villains also helped me with that as well. But yeah, everything here, Twitter, Facebook, Threads, Tumblr there, YouTube also right there as well. I should have had you on if I knew you were a K-pop person. I would have had you on for K-pop Demon Hunters. I would have had you on for that. There, but that's blowing up. That's huge right now.
Yep.
Uh, yeah. So there's that there. So yeah, I'll make sure to put that in the description and have people check you out there. Yeah. And today's show we're gonna be doing interview with the Vampire Season 2. You let me know you were a fan of the show last time you were on the show, helping me do Castlevania. So
Yep.
good to have you back and helping me with this.
It's good to be back. It's been a while. I've graduated since then. I can stress free for a moment for diving back in, taking a quick break from the collegiate experience, but I will like going for a master's. But it's a great thing to rewatch Interview with a Vampire, get excited for the summer for season 3 and everything. It's just it's becoming one of my favorite shows, and I hope it does well. Continue to do well.
Mm, nice there. They're gonna do another season, but they're gonna rename it, so it's not gonna be Interview with the Vampire anymore. It's gonna be what the Vampire Lestat is what they're gonna rename it to.
Yeah, they're going to name it after the book, which I think, I mean, it's fair because the book isn't called Interview with a Vampire. That's only the first book. Every book has a different name. Since season 3 is going to the second book, it's going to be The Vampire Lestat, which is the name of the book. I do think it is a weird thing because how would they, put that on streaming? It's like, hey, here's Interview with a Vampire, and then you have to search on something else. Here's The Vampire Lestat, which is season 3. It's like it's gonna be weird, search wise, I suppose.
Yeah, you think they should have done like Interview with the Vampire : the Vampire Lestat? You think they maybe
I
should have
feel like
done?
something like that, yeah, colon a subtitle, changing the show name completely is would kind of deter some people. I feel like.
Yeah. And so this one, have they ever adapted this before? This book
Yes,
before?
this have adapted. It's the this is where we got Aaliyah as
Oh,
this is
okay.
Queen of the Dam.
Okay,
A
interesting.
poor adaptation, but this is Queen of the Dam. What this is the book Queen of the Dam was based off of.
Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, gotcha. Okay, and how many books are there? There's like 16 books or something, like a lot, 10.
13. It's double digits. It's definitely, I think it's 13. It's definitely in the teens, but yeah.
Okay, nice there. So yeah, that's the next one that we got coming up there. So yeah, we'll get into that when we do the review and everything like that. We'll get into all that. But yeah, we're here to do Interview with the Vampire season 2. I'm gonna be streaming later on, about 20 or so minutes after this at 6 p.m. I got some other people coming on. I'm gonna be doing some reviews there and some trailer reactions. Um, Doing a trailer reaction for Nolan's Odyssey, doing that. Also,
It's kind of disappointing. I wish whimsy was back in Hollywood. I wish
mm,
color and whimsy, because the fact that Nolan's Odyssey, ancient Greece, looks dull and gray, is kind of disappointing. Because Greece is beautiful. It's gorgeous. Like you see it in its blue oceans, blue green oceans, white sand beaches, and you're making it look like like the Watchmen.
so you're not a believer of Nolan's Odyssey, huh? You don't like this?
I I mean, I never judge anything until I see it, but from what I've seen of how like dark and drab everything is, it feels not it doesn't feel like it's appealing to me. So Greek mythology in general is fanciful, it is fantastic, it is where we get the word epic from. It's the where we get the word, heroism comes from Greek origins. To make it like seem so like melancholy, it's kind of sad because it was. I mean, yes, there's always a message, but it's not melancholy as they make it seem.
Mm, yeah. So yeah, we'll get into that. Do a trailer reaction for that. I got some people coming on there. Also, they feel in the same boat as you. They do not like what's going on. What Nolan is doing with the Odyssey there. Then also there was a leak trailer for the new Avengers Doomsday. So this is the X-Men one that they had. So
Oh, they
that
leaked the X-Men one. I Once they started doing that, I once they announced Robert Downey Jr. as Doom, Doctor Doom, I swore off the MCU. I watched Ironheart, and I'm gonna watch Wonder Woman because I want to support, you know, the minorities for whatever time I get. But I'm done with the MCU. Like once they announced Robert Downey Jr., I was like, okay, I see what we're doing, and this is no longer for me. This is no longer for me. This isn't for people who want progress. This is only, I don't know how in 10 years we nostalgia baited so hard that we're going back a decade. It's not even like 90s or 80s nostalgia. We're nostalgic for 2009. It's
mm,
such a crazy thing to me.
yeah. You're gonna be well, the other person's coming after you. I think you and him are pretty much in sync with Odyssey and with Avengers. You're pretty much in sync there with him. But yeah, he's also pretty disappointed about. I mean, he pretty much has said this is gonna be a shit show ever since they did say that Robert Downey Jr. was gonna be Doctor Doom because Doctor Doom is his favorite Marvel character. So
Doctor Doom's
uh
one of my faves, and there's so much history and highlighting the Fantastic Four and probably one of the best comic book rivalries ever. Not one of the best, top five, definitely top three. It's crazy work. Like there's so much history between Doom and Reed Richards, and just to make them Tony Stark or Captain America makes no sense. And I wish Marvel should take risk. And it's crazy to me the way capitalism works because it's like if it doesn't make $1 billion, it's a failure. And they don't want to take risks because they don't want to hear negative backlash. But it's not like they're going to go broke if a movie fails, or they're going to go broke if certain people don't like it. You have to take risks because then, like later on, everybody over the years have like come. I'm not come across. I've seen some people who are more welcoming to Age of Ultron. I still don't like it because I think it's a poor adaptation of Ultron. But like over the years, people have come to like Age of Ultron, still not Thor or Dark World. Like some of the early ones that were kind of flops, people have come around to, and honestly, they don't give things time to marinate and find its audience. So like people who like going through and watching the MCU post everything happen are like they don't understand the claims from like Captain Marvel or She-Hulk or any of the newer stuff. Because like to them, it's like it might not be peak, but it's not bad, and it's not like you know at the bottom of the pit worthy. It's just kind of the need for everything to be 100% 10 out of 10 good, record breaking from jump always is kind of ruining Hollywood. Also, video games, because things that were got like a sequel years ago aren't getting sequels because people are like they're meh, and I'm like the franchises you love wouldn't continue if they were made today. And that's just kind of the weird thing about this. Is nothing gets time to grow or marinate. Everything has to be 100% no fault from the beginning. And I just don't think that's realistic for art or sustainable for art.
Mm. So you said you're done with it. So you haven't seen any of the newer movies of the
I watch
MCU?
Ironheart because I like Ryan Coogler and I like Ironheart and I knew he was going to do really well and I enjoyed Ironheart a lot. But I had nothing to do with the MCU. I got to do with Ryan Coogler.
Okay.
I watched Wonder Man because I wanted to support the Black Wonder Man. Um, but I haven't seen. I didn't see it in theaters. Me and my brother, because we got bored, we put on background noise. We put Hawk Four, not Hawk Four. I wish it was a Hawk
Hawkeye?
Four. No, I didn't watch Hawkeye. I didn't watch Echo. I didn't watch Daredevil. I didn't watch Loki season 2. I didn't watch Agatha all along. We watched like a couple months ago. We watched Thunderbolts and Cat 4, and we thought they were fine. Man, nothing appealed to me about either of those. So I haven't seen most projects besides Ironheart. I did see Eyes of Wakanda. I didn't watch any of the What Ifs, and I didn't watch Marvel Zombies. I watched Eyes of Wakanda and Ironheart, and then I'm gonna watch Wonder Man. And that's pretty much my where I'm at. Is like if it has a brown person in it, a black person, a minority in it, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. But other than that, nah.
Mm.
It's just
Okay.
it's like you're not appealing to me anymore, and it's like you're not. I'm not looking forward to the X-Men because I hear we're gonna do Wolverine again, and I'm like, stop, please. Like there's other X-Men. There's so many stories to tell, decades of stories, and we're just keep doing Wolverine. And Wolverine doesn't have stories like that. Not to say he doesn't have any stories, but they've kind of done all his greatest hits already. So to keep rehashing Wolverine when there's nothing to rehash anymore, like if you've seen Wolverine and the Fox, good or bad, that's a pretty decent Wolverine. That's a pretty decent adaptation of Wolverine. Even though I do prefer the comic book version, but if you've seen Fox Wolverine and all of the movies, good or bad, there you go. You don't need nothing else. There is nothing else. Unless they're gonna introduce his son and they're gonna do more with Laura, um, his daughter, and all that stuff. Unless they're gonna start going more modern. Well, not modern because technically Old Man Logan was after the introduction of Laura and Akihiro, his children. So, but I don't know what else it could do besides involving his kids. And they gave him, his OC kids besides X-23 Laura and the Foxverse because that clone son is not his actual son. So it's just like I don't know what else he can do with him because they've kind of done not fully everything. There is still some like they haven't got the Sabretooth connection right. They're not brothers, so that's not wrong. That's not correct. And we are missing some of his other notable things. I mean, Lady Deathstrike. We could do some revamps of characters in his history, but it's kind of like also they've kind of done everything.
Mm.
Not opposed to it unless you start going the actual thing and when he's like a great teacher and they start making him interact with kids, like give him Kitty Pryde. Kitty Pryde is pretty much like a surrogate daughter to Logan. Start having interact with kids and like give him his friendships and stuff. Stop making him such a loner because he's not. That would be nice. If we're gonna start doing things right, give him like the friendship with Gambit, the friendship with Nightcrawler, and more than friendships and stuff with Nightcrawler. It's just like if that's what they get, hopefully they do it well. Hopefully they get all I want from Marvel X-Men, Disney Marvel X-Men is to get Storm right. That's all I hope for. No more light skin Storm. Just give us Storm right. And that's all I want. but I don't know. I don't have any faith in Kevin Feige. I don't have any faith in Disney because they succumb so easily to the loud minority that it's just genuinely like frustrating. So I don't know. I don't have any faith in Disney anymore.
Mm, okay. And hey, that's going there, Neil. Neil is going to be on later on. He's going to help me talk about the Avengers Doomsday thing there. It says make X-Men a soap opera on the big screen there. Very nice. So yeah, I got that. Then review wise, I got reviews for. He's going to help me do a review for The Princess Bride. Neil is because Rob Reiner just recently passed away. So do a tribute to him and review Princess Bride there. Also review Secret Agent. That's a movie I saw. There's a movie called Left-Handed Girl, which is on Netflix. There, review that. Neil also has his review of One Battle After the Other. There after another there. I want to get your opinion on One Battle. Have you seen One Battle After Another?
I have not because I heard all about it and I'm like, this is not for me.
Okay.
Because I heard all the nonsense and I was like, oh, this is definitely not my type of. It feels like I don't. I don't think I'm gonna. I wouldn't like it because I feel like I would just get pissed off so easily by that movie. So I'm just gonna avoid it, and it's just gonna be. I feel like it was a movie not made to, but asking to piss me off. It's just.
Mm. Yeah, I wanted your opinion because you being a black woman, I wanted your opinion on it. Maybe if you've seen it, what's your kind of interpretation on it?
From what I heard, it would just piss me off to watch it because it just makes it. It feels like a greatly misunderstood the civil rights movement and what made it fall. Like all these radical movies, it seems like it's greatly misunderstood what these people are doing, what made them fall, and everything. And it just seems like it's used to prop up other groups and disparage black people because it's just it's even from hearing it gives me the ick, and I'm like, I'm good on that. Maybe I watch it one day and like do like a written piece about it. But currently, I'm just like, even with the political climate, I don't need to see this because I'm already tired. Just waking up to news every day, and it's like, oh great. And this movie doesn't seem like it's helping. Well, it seems to help some people. Some people, it's like it's great. It's like I'm like, is it? But then I also know I'm definitely more far left than a lot of people politically. So definitely seeing people being like, "This is great." It's also giving Barbie movie to me, and it's like, "Oh, this is baby's first, like Barbie's baby's first feminism." This it seems like baby's first radical left.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know. Well, if you ever do, let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah.
And then of course after the stream, I'll go ahead raid somebody. Kara Fly, she's on right now. There playing some Minecraft there. The chill spot, good friend of the channel. He's on right now. He's playing Marvel Cosmic Invasion. I was playing that yesterday. With another guest that's going to be coming on. So Sage from Rated M for Immaturity. So got some good people on. Could raid after this. Do you stream at all? Do you do any streaming?
I don't have the equipment to stream. I would like to one day, but well, I don't have the equipment for it, and then I probably won't have the equipment for it. The way things are going with AI and all the, it's like I had wanted to, but now it's like I don't think that's going to be possible for a good couple years. Because I would need a new computer, and then they're like, yeah, we're going back to 8 gig RAM for laptops, and I was like, what can 8 gig do for anybody? And it's just like it's not looking good tech wise, unfortunately, with the state of things.
But yeah, so that's what we got on. That's who I could raid after this. I'll go ahead and roll into this review, and we'll get out of here. All right, let me pull up my notes for this. Gonna interview with the Vampire season 2. I saw this actually just binged it yesterday. Actually, binged it. All right, let's go on here. All right. All right, people. So, our first review of the day is going to be for Interview with the Vampire Season 2. Now, I greatly really liked Interview with the Vampire Season 1 there. I did a review of it, and it's up on the channel right now. People can check it out, youtube.com. Just type in Afternoon Tune, Interview with the Vampire, and you'll be able to find it. And so I was waiting to review the Season 2 because I don't have AMC Plus, so I wasn't able to see it right when it came out. So I was waiting for it to come on Netflix there. And so now season 2 is on Netflix. It's been on Netflix for a minute now. So I was like, okay, well, now it's on Netflix. I'll go ahead and watch it. It's 8 episodes there. And what is going on in this season 2? Well, if people don't know about Interview with the Vampire, it's based on its adaptation of the Anne Rice novels there. People might know the movie. There was a movie adaptation of it as well. There was also, well, 2 movie adaptations because there was one with Interview with the Vampire and then her sequel novel. There was the Queen of the Damned one that was based on that they're doing next up in the new series there that you told me. Vampire Lestat there that's they did Queen of the Damned. But yeah, so in this season, it's basically you have a reporter here who's interviewing a vampire. He's interviewing Louis there, who's played by Jacob Anderson, who people might know. He was the eunuch in Game of Thrones there. He was part of Daenerys' army and everything. And it's just him recalling his life, all about his experiences there, what led him to the point where he is now, all the different hurtful things that he went through, the people that he's interacted with along the way there. And the first season detailed about how he became a vampire and how he fell in love with his maker Lestat there. And this season 2 is all about after the events, and we're going to spoil season 1 because I got to spoil some events in that one to talk about the season 2. And season 1, him and his he didn't make Claudia, right? Or more Lestat.
No. Lestat made Claudia, because if he had made her, they wouldn't be able to read each other's minds. So Lestat made Claudia.
Okay. Yeah, so Lestat made Claudia. So at the behest of Louis there. So yeah, Louis and Claudia, who they saw as kind of like a daughter there, who they got in the first season. Him and her planned Lestat's murder there. They were able to execute that, but little do they know it worked, but it didn't work there because he comes back in this season 2. And now they've kind of went away from initially the show was set in New Orleans the first season. Now they went away there into war-torn Europe. They made their way into kind of Paris. This takes place during World War II. So this is kind of the aftermath of all that. And it's kind of how they're trying to settle in to things in Paris. And in Paris, they meet a coven of vampires there who is led by Armand, who in the future, in present day, Armand is now the current boyfriend partner of Louis there. And it's kind of basically how they're trying to settle into things, this conflict they have with this new coven, them trying to find, Claudia is trying to find connection amongst other vampires there. So that's basically the setup you have of this season 2. MJ, what were your thoughts? Season 2, Interview with the Vampire.
I love season 2. It is probably always the saddest part of the Anne Rice's series is this stuff includes Claudia's demise, and that will always make me sad because I always want more for her, which is the intent of Anne Rice of her character. But I love Claudia so much, and it's just I think she's so great in this season, and it's just also I also think it's a great for Louis to see a different side outside of how he interacts with other people outside of Lestat, and how I know like Lestat is a problem, but it's also like Louis isn't perfect either, because his like treatment of Claudia once he got a new boyfriend is like, it's funny to say, but Louis is a very male centered. He's definitely the my man. But I love him. I'm gonna stick beside him. I love Louis. I love Claudia. I love everybody. Even though like Armand is definitely like so grimy for his role and everything. But I do love it. It was so great. It's fantastic. I love the actor who plays Armand. He does get very intimidating and everything. And I just love Delaney as Claudia, and Louis as Jacob as Louis, and Eric as The reporter, which is reporter,
Daniel.
Daniel,
Yeah.
reporter as Daniel. Like everybody's fantastic. This is just a great, just this is just great to see. And I'm really glad we're getting like it's not nothing's ever gonna be faithful, but I'm really glad we're getting like a faithful adaptation to Anne Rice's story.
Mm, okay. And you're right. I mean, in this season two, it deals with a lot of Louis still reminiscing about Lestat. He even has kind of a moment where he's, a lot of times in the show, Lestat pops up as like this imaginary kind of a voice in his head, and he's talking to him throughout. And I love the performance from Sam Reed, who is Lestat there. I mean, spot on casting with that. I think of a little bit I know about the character. With him there. So really, really great stuff there with him. And you learn some more reveals about the relationship between Armand that comes to test in this season and what we learned at the very end there with that. But yeah, that's plays a big part in them. And then also introducing to a new coven of these vampires here and see how they operate. So the thing about them is that they run a theater in Paris there, where they put on these different plays and they have all these victims there. And so for people watching it, they think it's like all part of the play, but they're killing human beings on stage while other people are watching, other mortals are watching there. So that's kind of a crazy thing that they do there. And I feel like throughout this season, we get some stuff with some of the coven people, like some are more prominent than the others, like Santiago is more prominent. Did you feel like we didn't really explore a lot of them all that much in these 8 episodes? Like you wish you
I
got
think
to see?
we didn't, but I don't think it was necessary because I think because the point not the point, but I think the whole thing with the coven is that they were all on one accord, and Louis and Claudia were not on that same accord, and Amon was supposed to get them on that one accord. So like Santiago was kind of like the voice of the coven because there was no dissentment between everybody else. Like we have our things that we do here. These are the rules. Amon, I mean, since this is a spoiler review, Amon being a leader, like you're supposed to enforce these rules. These are the rules you made and set, the rules we all agreed upon. And you let these two running around and not doing it. So Santiago is like perfect, like, hey, we are upset because none of us can do what they're doing. You just let them do whatever. These are not how we do here things here at the Dieta de Vampire. So it's like I think it's fine. I don't think everybody needs to have a role, and well, essentially it's just a very small cult.
Hmm. And have you read the books there of?
I've not read the Vampire Lestat, but I have read the Interview with a Vampire.
Okay.
So, yes, I did read this book, and if I remember, Santiago's also just a small role. It's pretty much this antagonist vampire that Louis isn't sleeping with.
Mm, okay. So you think like is it pretty much a good one-to-one adaptation there of getting pretty much most of the details from the book, right? Because they did so it took them 2 seasons to basically do the book there. Do you think it is a pretty good one-to-one adaptation?
I feel like it's at 101. There are some changes, like in the first season with Bruno, that vampire that assaults Claudia. That doesn't happen. Bruno's actually kind of like, not a Robin Hood, but he is kind of like he's the leader of wayward vampires, and he takes people under their wing in the book. So him being like Claudia's assaulter was a strange change. Unless they're gonna revamp the character that is Bruno in the books to a different character later on. But so not everything's a full 1-to-1. The like violence of season episode 5 of season 1 isn't in the books. Like they were toxic, but it was like emotionally toxic. It wasn't physically toxic. Um, so it's just there haven't been a full 1-to-1 adaptation. It's a good adaptation. It's definitely better than the Brad Pitt movie, and it's definitely leagues better than Queen of the Dam. But I don't mean like we've only seen commercials from the Vampire Lestat, and that's already better than whatever we got in Queen of Dams. Sans Aaliyah's role as Akasha, rest in peace. Um, but yeah, so it's this is great, but it's not gonna be 1-to-1, and I don't ever want anything to be 1-to-1 because if it is, just then just read the book. But this is a great adaptation that like gets the gist and the themes and the what Anne Rice was trying to convey in her storytelling. So I think they understand Anne Rice's story a lot better than the movies have.
Mm. And you mentioned the new lover vampire that we have here, who Louis is hooking up with, and that is Armand here, who's played by an actor named Assad Zaman. There now, I have not seen this actor before. I'm looking at some other stuff he's been in. There, he was in a movie. He was in a show called Hotel Porfinio. There, also something called Small Axe and Our Girl. I've not seen this actor before, but he's very good. Very obviously fits the attractive build there for him. Very suave, very charismatic there of him running this kind of thing. Um, do you think ever in this season two it runs the danger of being kind of like, oh, it's just the Lestat Louis relationship 2.0? Do you ever think that?
Uh, no, because I've discussed this a lot on the internet. The way Louis acts with Armand is not how he acts with Lestat. Louis takes a more masculine, presenting masculine role with Armand, as opposed to Lestat when he's his more true to his nature, more feminine, more submissive, more like less Lestat lead. But with Armand, he seems to be putting on like a front of like, you say what I say something and you do, and type role where and I think he seems more domineering, in Armand's case. But it's just, um, which is, I guess, top, which is funny because Armand is like this ancient vampire leader of the, vampire, theatre de vampire. So it's just like they're both playing roles that don't really suit them, or at least doesn't suit Armand anymore because with his backstory of his enslavement, um, Armand doesn't really do like subservience much anymore. But for Louis, he tried to like not try to, but he was more like letting Louis take the lead. Um, but I think it's different. They're both equally, not equally. They're toxic for different reasons. All three of them together, separate, whoever's dating who. But it was definitely a different dynamic between. Um, I didn't especially post the trial. Then now it's definitely a different dynamic in that relationship than to as opposed to when Louis was depressed when Claudia ran away during the Great Depression, and how Lestat really didn't take care of Louis. Like he was trying to get him out and trying to break him free from the depression. Whereas Amon, when he says that like all you think about is Lestat, and he's been taking care of him for that in the 70s, all those years, with all his like binges of just drinking drugs up people that just like crash out. It's definitely that's definitely different because Lestat wouldn't have done that for Louis, but also I don't think Louis would have crashed out like that with a Lestat. You know what I mean? It's definitely two different relationships with two different sides of Louis to kind of see him as a whole character. Um, and then his with his interaction with Claudia also, like Louis is such a well-rounded character just from with his family, Claudia and Lestat in season one, and now the Theater the Vampire, Amon and Claudia again in season two. Louis is such a like well-rounded character. I just really love him. Like you can just see all sorts of his personality through all his interactions, and man, he's just great. He's a great character.
Mm, yeah. And I think it's a different set of relationship because you see with Louis with Armand, that he can't even fully commit to like, okay, is this guy my partner now or not? He says like I think it was Santiago who asked, your companion, is that your companion? He's like, he says no, Armand says yes, so it's like this conflict there between them. That he's willing to fully commit. And he's still constantly thinking about Lestat and thinking about him and talking about him and how much he is on his mind. And I mean, some way you get it because I mean, Lestat, I guess we could say, is his first love, and at that point, he had never had any other homosexual relationship before Lestat, right? It was just it was
Yeah,
his first one. So there's also that to it, and also the kind of making him into a vampire. So it's that extra added layer. So there's all these different layers to that relationship that he just does not have with Armand there. That I think is important. Um, I think, the this season, the real scene stealer and the real kind of show stealer is Claudia, I think, in this season. And Claudia in this, in this season 2, here is played by a Daniela Hollis there as well. She's played by her there in this. Yeah, do you think she's the MVP of this season?
absolutely, because she plays such a great, mature. This is a 40-year-old woman trapped in a 14-year-old body. Claudia, like this is a grown woman who's being babied by everyone around her because they only see her physical and not her mental, which is, as vampires, you should be able to like be aware, more aware of, sometimes you're not going to age physically, but mentally. But she definitely plays I'm a grown woman trapped in a child's body really well.
Mm. And the actress, I wonder what her age is. I think she's probably like in her early 20s, I think, age wise there. But then you see a lot, she's 26. And so you see a lot of stuff with her, and then she's the one that joins the coven, and then that brings Louis along there. So she initiates that relationship. She also meets this woman in Paris there who's been branded as a Nazi there. And then when you get her story, she learns that she brought a Nazi guy, a Nazi soldier, like she was in bed with him, and she was with him there and offered him, I guess, safe haven there. And then ever since then, people draw like swastikas on her window and everything like that. What was the kind of your favorite things that Claudia did this season? Was it the relationship? I think that character's name was Madeline. Is
Yeah,
that what it was?
Madeline. Um,
Yeah.
I think I do think her relationship with Madeline is probably the best because it is nice to see her interact with vampires outside of Louis and Armand and the vampire and the vampires because everybody was cheating. Because Louis sees her like a daughter sister, and he doesn't really see her. Um, and Armand sees her as competition for Louis' companionship, and also sees her like her father, Lestat, but she very much is. She's a lot like him. Um, but and then the vampire Dieta de Vampire sees her as like an infinite child, a forever child, and then like she's like, oh, as a baby we could just baby forever, and not like she has her own wants and opinions. And so Claudia, her relationship with Madeline, sees her as a woman, as an adult, sees her as a person separate from anything from Lestat, from Louis, from a vampire, because he doesn't know she's a vampire, and up until a point. But I do think it's a great to see Claudia be what Claudia could be outside of the sphere of her father's mess.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, I loved her this season. I loved it a lot with her, what she had going on with Madeline, also with the coven there. And also when she joins the coven, so like I said, they put on these theater performances and she has to pay, I think it's Baby Lou, and she
Yeah.
has to do this like we do like a montage, and she's already on her 500th performance. And she was like, the character becomes like a fan favorite amongst the people that go see the show. But it's like, okay, I'm, this little girl, I'm like I said, this grown woman trapped in this little girl's body. And it's kind of humiliating for me to continuously play this character over and over and over again and have people laugh and mock her for that. And and even when in season one they do a flashback to that of Lestat talking about like 14 to turn a child. I mean, that's a terrible age to turn a child into a vampire because of all the turbulent emotions that they go through. So that's permanent, so spiritually, mentally, they all physically age, but they all age, but physically they're still trapped in that 14-year-old body there. And yeah, so we see a lot of that, and we see tensions growing amongst, like you said, the coven, and there's, with Armand. and his relationship with Louis, with Claudia, them defying, kind of interrupting there and defying the order that the Covenant set for over hundreds of years. And you do kind of see that there. And then eventually it leads to where the Coven betrays Louis and betrays Claudia there, and they put them on trial, a stage play they put on for that. And at first, you think that Armand is not in on it and that he's just a victim of it, but through the investigative journalism of Daniel there, he's able to kind of figure out, like, no, he had a hand in it, and it was actually really Lestat that was the one that saved Louis and sentenced him to banishment instead of death there. And he's the one that kinda did that there, and it ended up in Claudia and Madeline being, burned alive there via the sun. What did you think about that twist there? I mean, I know you already read the book already, you knew it was coming. How well do you think the show executed that?
It was definitely executed. It was executed really well. And it was a little jarring because as black people, to see two black people get up there and just all the white people around, it's just like accusation is a little jarring, but it does really well of the conflict of, you know, even though we did try to kill us, stop Lasat forgives him, at the it's more not Louis getting in his own way. It's just Louis' conflict. It's that like there's nothing that Louis could do to Lestat would never forgive. Mostly because he's a deeply messed up person from his childhood and did his vampire childhood. Um, he's experienced worse. Is all I gotta say about Lestat. Um, and it's just that I also feel like it leads to more of like how manipulative Armand is and how like like for the Armand, like from jump he's always been the leader. He's the coven leader. Like they knew he was the leader. That's the whole point why Louis was, smoozing and smooching with him. It's like he's the leader and he's gonna let me slide because he's in charge here. But then also like I guess the trauma and the like just rejection of Lestat to be like, well, Amon saved me. And it's like, but Amon also was in control of them and they didn't do anything without Armand. So it's just very much Louis um did a lot of rationalizing for a very long time to get over his guilt of both this death of the attempted murder of Lestat and the death of Claudia.
Mm. Um, and that was, I mean, it's because is that the penultimate episode or is that the final episode they do the trial?
Penultimate, because final episodes when Louis kills the vampires, the vampires.
Oh yeah, which I love that moment when he comes back for
Yeah,
revenge there, and he puts on his Van Helsing duster and everything like that. That was
yeah.
a super cool moment. But that was a fantastic episode, the penultimate when they do the trial, and it's like, oh man, are they going to be able to make it out of this? Is maybe somebody going to put on a last minute save there, and to see, and that's when you see Lestat return in the flesh, and you see that he is not dead, and they actually didn't succeed in killing him there. And when that reveal is made that it was actually Lestat who was the one that did save Louis, with that, and you see that Claudia, I mean, she looked directly at Lestat when she was dying there, and that it has obviously an emotional reaction, like you said, he is her maker, and it has kind of a deep bond there with that. Even if they did have this big giant falling out, literally, I mean, he dropped them out of the sky. I mean, they literally had a falling out there. Um, I thought that was really good, and that was really done and really played well by everybody in that scene there. Um, so I mean, because in the books, isn't like Lestat? Doesn't he become like a vampire god or something like that? Like he's very powerful, right? He's
By
like
the end of it, yeah, by the end of it, he's pretty much like a vampire god. I think this is spoilers for if we get that far. I'm pretty sure he does drink quite literally the blood of Jesus, um, and becomes like a vampire god. There's a lot going that happens later on in the books. There's a lot that happens later on in the books, but
yeah.
the start just by his maker is very powerful because he is, I think, like one or two generations removed from Akasha, Queen of the Vampires. So he's pretty much like, I mean, they have him out there like the family tree, but he's fairly powerful because he has like pretty much the vampire queen blood running through him,
Mm.
and it's just a very he is powerful, but I also think but I don't think he was powerful enough because I mean he would have made it very obvious if he tried to say both Claudia and Louis, and that's just the worst part. They had to pick, and honestly, he picked who he wanted, and it's just it sucks that I mean in the end, Claudia was failed by both her fathers because they probably should have been out of Paris once it wasn't going their way with um Armand, but and like him like waffling on whether or not he wanted to change Madeline for Claudia. Um, it is like she was just felt by her parents, and unfortunately, in the end, um, there was nothing she could do. She had, which is kind of her character as she is the literary version of Anne Rice's own child. Um, but it's just a sad. Claudia is just an inherently tragic character. Um,
Do you miss the actress who played her in season one, or do you think the season two is
Now I
better?
think having a different actress is actually really good for the themes um of the the show of Memory of the Monster, and is that Louis can't remember what Claudia looks like exactly because it's been so years and he doesn't um quite remember her from her beginning to her end because it's been some time and he has all these conflicting emotions of it. I think, and also I think they both did what they needed. I think Bailey is a great new to the world, just got here, young vampire, and Claudia is very, and Delaney is a very great, cynical, jaded, grown woman. Claudia, they both brought what they needed was like the young. I want to see the world. I'm impulsive vampireness for Bailey with Claudia, and then the mature look, we got to think about this rationally. Claudia from with Delaney, they were really great. I think it's two. There's never been a bad performance of Claudia because Kirsten uh because even what was her name? She played MJ in Raimi Spider Man.
Kristen Dunst.
Yeah, Kristen Dunst was a great Claudia in the movies.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, young girl. Yeah, she played her in the movie version with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise. There, yeah. Yeah. And I think I asked the person this when we did the first season. Do you think the show is better than the movie? The show? So,
Absolutely. One
oh,
because Brad Pitt hated being that movie, and you could clearly see he hated it, and he made Louis the even worse character. But this one, they can see there's passion, and they want to introduce these characters. Excuse me, well, and everything, and there is just as opposed, I'm here for a check, Brad Pitt. I mean, Tom Cruise was crazy, but and Kirsten Dunst was great, but like Brad Pitt kind of just ruins everything.
yeah. So, yeah. So that Louis able to make it out because Armand, helps him get out of the crypt. They put him in like this what they call it, not a crypt, but a kind of like a morgue type thing. I forgot what the name they is to put him in there, like this coffin. But he's able to break him out. Louis then is able to regain his strength and then come after all the vampires there in the coven, burns it down, cuts off Santiago's head. And then he's gonna go kill Lestat. But then that kind of falls apart there. And then he goes off with Armand, and then that's when you catch up with the rest of the story, and then that's when he learns the secret of what happened that Armand's been keeping for him, and then he ends things with him. And then you learn that the book is out. You learn that Daniel has published the book. It's a smash hit book, but obviously nobody believes him because he's talking about vampires. And then he's got turned into a vampire himself by Armand in revenge. Well, yeah, I guess in revenge for what Daniel exposing him and ending the relationship between him and Louis. And Louis ends up going back to Lestat. Lestat is kind of in this old decrepit house, there where he's, back in New Orleans, still there. And even when they try to make like him look disheveled, and he still looks gorgeous, he still looks
Yeah.
amazing there with that. How do you think things wrapped up, and what do you think with this new season of Interview with the Vampire Lestat? What can we expect from that? There, I know you said you haven't read the book on that one, but maybe some things there as far as from reading some things.
I expect it to be wild and crazy because this is pretty much the Stock's rebuttal to the book because he's like, well, you interviewed Louis about his side, but what on my side? Because there's two sides, three sides to every story. Yours, theirs, and the truth. And he's like, well, here's my side, and I don't remember it exactly like that. And it's just not like gonna. I don't think it's gonna paint Louis in a bad light, but it's like Lestat definitely saw things different because he interpreted Louis different than what Louis saw himself as. So there's just gonna be a different perspective of Louis through Lestat's eyes, be it good or bad. Um, and I do think the Daniel revealed the vampire was a shock because that doesn't happen for a few more books. Like that didn't happen at the end of Interview with a Vampire, and Amanda was turned in for like many years. Well, I think one because in the books the time frame is different. Daniel isn't old in the books; he is young. So like Daniel is the right age when he is turned in the movie, but that didn't happen for like several books and several years down, like decades down the line. So it was that was a shock to me. But I see what interesting we're gonna do by making Daniel Vampire early on in the story and everything. And it's just there's a lot of changes, but not anything that I think is too egregious. Like it's not a bad adaptation of like the Percy Jackson movies or anything like that when they just completely disregard the source material. Like they're very
You,
taking much of the source material into account here. It's not 101, but it is inner spirit of and Rice's characters.
yeah, she gave the show the blessing, I think, before she passed away, right?
Yeah, she was involved. I do think her son is still involved as an executive producer, but she was involved up until she passed.
Mm,
So
yeah. So, what rating would you give season two? A rating system, so you can give it the highest. You can give something. This is cinema. Then below that is a peak. Below that is a tune in. Below that is just a stream it. If you want to give it a negative rating, a lowest, very lowest rating, give something is waste of fucking film. Then a burn it. Then skip it or tune out. What would you give season two of Interview with the Vampire?
I would say this is cinema. Um, I do think this was great. This is season one and season two. Unfortunately, with the streaming model, I just feel this probably could have been one season. Back in the day, this would have been one season, one fantastic season, but it's two fantastic seasons. Um, but I do think this is great, and this is a really great love letter to Anne Rice's characters, and I want it to be more popular, like all like other things are getting popular, and I want this to get more popular. I don't want this to like just have us as the audience. It needs a more popular, which is I'm glad on Netflix. But hopefully, being on Netflix allows more accessibility. But I
Mm,
definitely need this to continue on because I would love to see Anne Rice's full story in completion. Uh, Unlike George R. R. Martin, his story isn't even done, but they badly adapted Game of Thrones in retrospect. Um,
doesn't AMC, they want to do the whole
they
Rice
want to do
universe?
Yeah, they want to do the whole thing. I heard they did Telemesco was really good. I need to watch that. I didn't think it was necessary, so I didn't watch it. But yeah, they want to do her whole universe because they have the rights to it. And again, her son is on producing, executive producing. So hopefully they're fully committed to it and not
Yeah.
just
Do you watch Mayfair Wishes? That's hers, right? Mayfair Wishes.
yeah. Make sure Witches is part of it. I did not watch it because I didn't. I saw the trailers and I didn't really speak to me. And which I may watch it like just if the characters come across in later seasons, I'll probably watch it then. But right now, I'm not too interested in the Mayfair Witches.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I greatly enjoyed the season 2 Interview with the Vampire. And I think it's still just as good as the first season. Really love all the characters here, love the performances. Really liked the ending of it as well, and I can't wait to see with Vampire Lestat what they do with that. Um, for me, I would give it a peak there. For me, good strong peak with that. So, yeah. I'm gonna be here for Vampire Lestat when that is on there. I'm not gonna sign up for AMC Plus, but yeah, when it comes to Netflix, I'll
Mhm.
check it out. I got too many subscription services right now. Um, so you give it a This Is Cinema. I give it a
Yeah.
peep for Interview with the Vampire. Thank you so much. Thank you, MJ. Very much appreciated. I hope for you to come on again. I don't want to wait too long for the Vampire Lestat, but if you have interest in anything, let me know. I'd love to
I
have you
will.
on.
All right. It's nice talking to you again.
All right, take care. Bye. All right. I'm gonna bring on the other guys there, and then I'm going to bring them on. Let me send out the links there. Okay, send out the links. Very awesome there. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So there is that. And let me change the title as well here. With that. Oh, yes, yes, yes. But of course, as always, going ahead after they come on, I'm gonna raid somebody after this. Gonna raid maybe Kara Flies on chill spot. He's still on. So when they're on there, I'll go ahead and raid them if I'm done after this, if they're still on. But get some reviews coming up and got some good news topics going to be discussing there. Going to be discussing the whole Nolan trailer, the Odyssey, and going to be talking about also the Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua fight, Andrew Tate fight, all that good stuff there with it. So very nice. Awesome there. Do. Right. Hey, how's it going there, Mike? What's up, man? How you feeling?
I'm good.
Good to see you there, Mike. All right. Oh, MJ, are
Right.
you?
Sorry.
Oh,
Let me.
oh, yeah. So I was going, man, getting that popcorn in. Yeah. Man. Thanks for coming on. Just gonna talk about this trailer real quick.
No problem. Didn't expect my one video on TikTok to get so popular, but Nolan's fans are not happy with me. Just
Oh, really? I'll pull that up. Let me change the title to this here. Hello.
somewhere, but I'll show you.
How's it going there, Sage?
Hey, doing good.
What's up?
Yeah. Good old Sage there. Man. You could send your book to Mike. Mike's a big influencer on TikTok. He's
Alright.
been,
Hey, if you're
Commercial is now maybe the most accurate term to describe me now, or something like that. Just
but thank you for joining me here.
yeah.
You guys are the historians, so I'm gonna
Well, comparatively, yeah, but yeah, this has been a heated discussion on Twitter for a while.
And Neil is there. Awesome. Whole gang is here. Very good.
Hey, everyone.
Hey.
All right. Thank you guys for joining me for this show. Sage and Neil are here just to discuss this Nolan Odyssey trailer. And I don't know if Sage, you want to stick around to talk about the Avengers Doomsday, the X-Men thing. Just talk about that real quick.
Sure, I've seen it.
Yeah, you've seen it. People.
How much negativity do you want out of me in one day?
I have not seen it, so I'll be interested in this.
Okay.
I think I've seen most of it, but there's also like a lot of fake screenshots going around that's like I can't tell what's real, what's not.
Yeah, it's hard with AI now and everything. It's kind of hard to tell.
It's kind of interesting of like comparing this to movies that did work cinematic universe wise. It's like MCU really tipped their lid, but you compare it to something like Planet of the Apes, and weirdly, the Sonic franchise is doing a cinematic universe pretty well, all things considered.
Right.
Yeah, all those three movies are pretty successful there. I mean, not to Sage, but yeah, that's pretty successful. All right. Let me get rid of this here. All right, let me pull up this trailer and we go ahead and talk about it. Mike, but one real quick before I do that, man, let people know about you. What's going on? Check coming up next, all that good stuff.
Oh, I'm Mike from Greyworks. I'm animator, comedian, writer, and all that stuff. I very recently worked on a Smiling Friends reanimated project. However, I made puppets for that, thumb puppets, because I wanted to do something a bit weirder. That's up on YouTube right now. It's still getting more and more views. It's by Baffy. We did the Christmas special of Charlie dies and goes to hell. And but yeah, I kind of do a lot of stuff all around. I also interview other like indie creators, like actors and animators and people making their own shows. And you can find me on anywhere Greyworks, on Twitter, on Blue Sky, on Instagram, and all that stuff, on TikTok. If you want to hear me rant and just maybe post clips.
Google on my phone. I'm guessing a lot of you.
Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, no, just so. Yeah, some recent videos, but like, yeah, also make some edits, talk about Greek mythology. Some of those videos blow up of mine. And I will be working on a Greek mythology horror short that's going to come out next year.
What people see when you criticize Christopher Nolan's Odyssey trailer leaks.
Yeah, leave that poor man alone. They've always hated Nolan.
Man. So this is your TikTok right here. People can check you out. But everything Greyworks, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, all Greyworks. People just type it in and they'll be able to find you here, there. Awesome stuff. Sage, let people know where they can find you. What you got going on? What you got coming up? All that good stuff.
Yeah, you can find me over at Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, under Rated M for Immaturity. We stream every Tuesday about 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. We just finished a game, so I think Doom is what we're doing next. You can also go buy my published book over on Amazon about dinosaurs shooting each other in the face.
Yes. And that link is in your Twitter right there. I'll pull up your Twitter in a minute here, but this is your Twitch. So you can check it out here. Usually streaming Tuesdays, Saturdays there. Last game you played was Metal Gear Solid 2. I just finished that off there. So that is
to see a few people experience that for the first time. That was fun.
One of the best PS2 games of all time, right there.
Hell yeah.
So very much there. You're also on YouTube. YouTube, just type that in. Rated M for Immaturity there. This is your Twitter. So if they just hit this link right here, it goes to the Amazon right here. There, it goes to that. So you can just check that out. Awesome.
Very sort of Greco-Roman inspired world structure too, since it's relevant to what we're talking about today.
That was funny. You quote tweeted a clip from Charlie's Angels. This is why do people always say this is this and then post clips from the weakest films of that era? People said that movies used to be cool.
And then it's Charlie's Angels 2.
Charlie's Angels. I did think that was a weird movie to point out, but
nobody thought Charlie's Angels 2 was cool back in the day. Like
not at all.
Yeah. They were fine though. Fine women though.
Oh, absolutely. It's just movie didn't make any damn sense.
Damn. She came in like like Daredevil, didn't she? Hold on. Did all these flips and stuff. Hold on. What the hell? What? Body just contorted right in the middle of the air? Like
I don't even know where the two of them came from. That was completely from off screen.
Yeah, these punches. Ooh, these some bad looking punches too. Look at that. Like, oh man, that don't even look all that convincing. Oh man. But yeah, but first one's not too bad. I think Charlie's Angels first one.
Yeah,
Good.
the first one.
2000 was fun. With that, but yeah, Sage. Neil, let people know about you, man. What you got coming up? What you got going on, man?
I am just a guy that likes to talk about movies and critique art. So everyone can find me at Daft Neil at Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Letterboxd, and the PlayStation Network. So if any of you guys want to read up on some terrible movie opinions I might have and explain why some things don't deserve 5 stars, even though they do, feel free to hit me up on any of those channels, and I will explain everything.
And this
And
is your letter.
and I'm Yep, and I'm currently writing my best films of the year list. So whenever you're ready to film that, I am too. So all good.
Very cool there. This is your recent activity here, one battle after another. Yeah, gets a lot of movies, some high scores recently. Frankenstein.
There have been a lot of really good movies that I've seen recently. I mean, even Avatar, even though that's the weakest of the Avatar movies, I still thought it was great. So really good stuff coming out.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you got Avatar, Fire and Ash there. You got One Battle After Another. You got their Frankenstein, Left-Handed Girl. We're gonna be talking about Left-Handed Girl today.
Right.
Do a review for that.
All right.
Awesome. Very good there. All right. Let me see. Let me grab this trailer and we go ahead and talk about it there. This good old Odyssey here. Oh man. All right. That's okay. Fine. I'll just pull it up here. All right. So Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan has a new movie coming out that's getting everybody in a tizzy, I guess, as they say. There he's adapting the Odyssey. The epic story there. And it's going to be brought to you in IMAX because Nolan, he does things big. When he does things, he does them big. Hasn't all his recent movies all been IMAX, all shot in IMAX pretty much? Yeah. Like Dunkirk was shot in IMAX and Tenet and all these other movies.
I think this is the first one that's like literally 100% of the footage is all IMAX the whole time.
Okay. Because I know Dark Knight Rises like alternate between like standard film stock and IMAX, but this will be cool to see, if nothing else, to see the full IMAX format.
All right. I have not seen the full thing yet. So it'll be interesting there. But how many times have you seen it, Sage?
Probably 5 times to pick it apart.
5 times. Okay. How many times have you seen it, Mike?
The trailer?
Yeah.
I'd say probably twice, but also I have looked at a lot of stills and sets and just like, talked about those in depth and like the issues with them.
Okay. Well, let's give this a look here. So this is the official trailer, not the teaser trailer, but this is the official trailer for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. Let's take a look. Then let me know. There.
Maybe you could go off on the armor in just that opening shot, but I will refrain from doing so yet.
So yeah, a lot of people have an issue with the armor. What's going on with the armor there?
It's so inaccurate. There's no real basis in it in any time period or cultural time, especially in this era of Bronze Age. And even though the Odyssey was written it's meant to take place a few hundred years before Homer was like alive. The thing is, we still know what that armor would have looked like, but also by depictions of vases and sets and other artistic depictions from ancient Greece of that era depicting the Odyssey. There's like this armor looks so generic. It looks so like store-bought. It looks like something like a teenager would make. This looks like an NPC in a generic fantasy game, and Nolan wants to prop himself up as like a very authentic, historically accurate like director, like when he did Dunkirk, or where he did like Oppenheimer. It's like there's a lot of like research in those movies, but here just like this armor just looks so colorless and bland. Also, armor being colorless is kind of linked to the idea of like, oh, all these armors we have and like these vases we have and these pots we have from ancient Greece, they're like black or white, so obviously these colors were very muted. That's not really true. The reason why they look like that now is because it's like thousands of years old and like the color has worn off. Everything in this movie looks so old and bad and generic. And it feels like such a waste of opportunity from just like representing like a culture and history, but also just interesting aesthetics.
I mean, the only thing I'll contribute to the armor thing is that this is not the Odyssey. Last time I checked, is not based off of a real historical event. So it's like, why? Like, I guess it's an interesting conversation about how much it deviates from like actual Greek tradition and stuff. But at the same time, I'm sort of like, why are we arguing about
That's not
the
really
way
true.
the armor looks in a fable? I mean, this is kind of like knocking 300 for not being historically accurate.
I did that.
Was super made fun of for not being historically accurate. Like, what are you
Right,
talking
but it's just like it's a pointless endeavor because it's like it's so stylized and so very much like a different artistic interpretation of like again a fable. So it's like
I think there's a choice that you could make to be like, hey, we're leaning into the fantasy, we're really leaning into the sort of myth of it, and I think you could, in theory, use that as an excuse to kind of go like, all right, well, we're going to kind of make something that we just think looks good on film, and go outside of like exactly what the historical armor of that time would have been. I think that's an angle you could take, but I think there's two problems with that. Is Nolan has been like every interview he's like, nope, check it out, I'm making the most accurate version of it, I'm like all about the accuracy, and he keeps saying that, which makes me feel like I can't give him that excuse. And then I just think that the styling is kind of boring looking. Like even outside of it being accurate, like don't even think about that. I just think it looks very bland and uncreative.
It's also like the issue with saying it's a fable or it's fiction. There's a big difference between any aspect of mythology and religion and culture versus like any like a comic book or like Lord of the Rings. Like this is based in a group, in a like a time period, in a culture. And there is the discussion of now who owns Greek myth. The problem when people say, well, it didn't actually happen, it's like, okay, well, also like when you say it didn't actually happen, like, yeah, Sinners didn't actually happen, but if like all of a sudden like the main character just had like an electric guitar from like modern times, that would throw you off of the movie. Like,
did you see Sinners? I mean, there's a scene where a guy is like singing the blues and the spirits of dancers from totally different time periods.
The issue with that is that like that's meant to be in the movie. It's not like, oh, this existed back then, but it's still like culturally and like historically accurate, the whole movie itself. Like it's like, yeah, vampires didn't exist, but like this movie's still like pretty accurate to that time period. It's like, and when they do pull from spirits of the future, like there's a reason for it in the story. There's no reason for this in the story.
Yeah, we only 14 seconds in. Wow, 14 seconds in, man. Hey, we just got done with the Universal logo and yeah, all right. Let's see. Let's continue. And there, people.
Bible Man. It looks like Bible Man.
Yeah, it does. Or like Shaq from fucking Steel.
Yep, that's exactly.
Yep.
So people were memeing this a lot from the trailer there, it seemed like, and people don't know what Bible Man looks like. So this is Bible Man right here. So that's what it. And what was do people remember in Mad TV? What was the character name in Mad TV that they did? I forgot the character's name there, but anyway, yeah, so that's what Bible Man looked like there. But people also have seen people meme this, and Tom Hardy, people put his made him into like handsome Squidward, or Tom Hardy's Bane and Dark Knight Rises there with that. So this is Benny Safdie that you have here, who he was also in another Nolan movie. Oh, that's Bible Man again. Sorry. He was in Oppenheimer there, so he was just recently in Oppenheimer. So you got that, but very
spine attached to the back of his head for some reason.
That look cool to you? A little cool?
Not really. It feels out of place.
Yeah, the spine is kind of weird. Like as much as I'm like doing the whole it's a fable thing, like the spine is kind of an odd choice, and I don't really know if I get it yet.
It feels like that Russian movie, like Night Watch or something. Like it feels more out of that than it does out of like a mythology film.
Okay. Does anybody know who Benny Safdie's playing off the top of their head?
He's meant to be Agamemnon.
Okay.
He was the leader of the Achaean forces. He wasn't the king. I mean, he was a king, but he wasn't the king of Achaeans the way like that Troy movie tried to make it.
Yeah, and that was Brian Cox, right, in that film?
Yeah. I do think the casting's pretty good for that movie for the most part. It's not great, but
no, it's not very good.
And then you got John Bernthal to the left. And who is John
Let me
Bernthal?
tell you something, man.
Yeah, John Bernthal's Menelaus, which is like that's a interesting casting choice, especially the fact they make him bald because Menelaus is like one of the few characters who we have like a description of like his hair. Like he's one of the very few characters, and like they make him bald. Just
and he's supposed to be the younger brother, but John Bernthal looks, I don't know.
To be fair, they would be like 40s, 50s by the end of the Trojan War. So,
right. Okay. So let's keep going.
After years of war,
and then you got Matt Damon there, who is playing Odysseus himself. How do you all like the casting of Matt Damon as Odysseus?
I think this whole movie feels like Baby's first fan casting.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Damon's a great actor. I'm sure he'll do good in the role, but like this is going to be a weird comparison, but it kind of seems like Nolan is sort of following in the Hideo Kojima route of like just casting big name actors to play every single role and not really like making much sense of it in the moment. But I mean, Matt Damon is good, so I hope
he's so pale. This is the most pale man to play Odysseus.
So he's supposed to be a little bit more olive skin because of the sun.
Well, it's also the fact that Odysseus was in a fairly young, but still like seafaring country. It's like Odysseus is like known for being on ships. It's just like, it's an interesting choice. I think the most issue I have is with the main four of Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Zendaya, and Anne Hathaway, which I know they're the biggest characters in this movie, but it's like, yeah, that's mostly where my issues lie, casting choice.
no
Oh, is anybody going to say anything or no? Okay.
one could stand between my men. And home.
Then you got Tom Holland there.
He looks like one of the background characters, one of the background human characters in Shrek. Like,
maybe he just woke up. Maybe he just, woke up. He still got his nightie on. Maybe that's what it is, man.
Well, this is Tom Holland trying to prove like I can act in prestige movies that aren't Spider-Man. Please take me seriously, guys.
It's kind of weird because Tom Holland's he's closer to being like a decade older than Telemachus was in the Iliad. He still kind of looks too young. Just like
he's got the Michael Cera problem.
A little. Just like
he needs to grow a beard or something like that just to age him up a little bit.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, like maybe a mustache, but
yeah. But yeah, he's playing the son of Odysseus there. He's playing the son there, who is on a mission to find his father there. So that's playing there. And then you have Anne Hathaway there, who's playing the wife there.
Penelope.
Yeah, Penelope there, who I always love Anne Hathaway. Anne Hathaway's amazing. And
shockingly pale for the climate too.
Yeah. And also same thing. So same thing with Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland. You all agree they're too white.
A little.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think maybe you can make the argument maybe like Odysseus, because he does get touched up by the goddesses every once in a great while. Like maybe you can make the argument like, oh, his skin would be like there might have been something removed or like blemish, but it's like I don't know. Like I think it's interesting compared to something like the Aussie miniseries from the 90s of like they look appropriate. Like these look like people who would spend time in the sun, like by the beach and all that.
Right.
Okay. Well, they don't have the science yet, man, that the sun causes cancer. They don't have that science yet, man.
No, Nolan doesn't like the sun. He doesn't like color.
He's got Tim Burton whispering in his ear like a little devil on his shoulder.
The devil.
Not even me.
What about the things like the ships and what about that? Does that look good?
I think they're mostly good.
Yeah, the ships look fine. I don't have any issue with those.
Maybe Nolan spent all his money on ships and now he's like, shit, I gotta do costumes.
Well, I think the cinema 30 real ships and there's like, we're out of money.
I just think the cinematography in general looks pretty good. Like stylistic choices aside, I think the Vista shots look really good, and like the lighting seems pretty on point for like the scene composition and stuff. So that always is good for Nolan.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. Yeah, Nolan's a very talented director and like cinematographer, but like, yeah, I think like it's just like I think this movie will be good. It just feels like he's going a shockingly safe like Hollywood route with it.
Right.
I think that's a good shot. I like this shot. That's good.
I think it's interesting, but with the context of the Trojan horse, there's a few things that might be here, but just.
What about you, Sage? You like this shot?
I think the shot composition is good. I think I do, I think the camera is placed very well and it's capturing the moment well. But I don't love like the color grading throughout it.
You got Troy's in Turkey.
There you have the Cyclops there. So they said it's animatronic. It's not going to be CGI. It's going to be all animatronic there.
Interesting.
So what do you guys think about that? That it's not going to be CGI. It's going to.
Well, that was the first thing I think I actually heard about the movie when they first announced it. Was that they were building this giant like puppet animatronic in like an actual cave in Greece, and that got me really excited for the film until recently when I started seeing more stuff from it, and then it kind of went back down. But I still think that is the kind of thing. That is what I expect Nolan to do to try and pull something like that off. That is unconventional. And it feels like a choice that I want like throughout the movie or with all of it, and I think that could end up being really cool. I just wish that he was applying that to like, more choices.
The thing I'm most interested in just in this movie in general is like how he balances the sort of gritty Nolanisms that he's kind of known for with the more fantastical elements. Because he, aside from stuff like Interstellar and maybe Tenet, he hasn't really played with like overly traditional like fantasy elements like you'd see in a Cyclops or a Siren or any of the other Greek creatures that you would see. So I think that's going to be like, to me, the most interesting thing to see how he balances both, the Nolan grittiness that he's known for, but like the fantastical elements.
Okay. Is there gonna be any voice for the Cyclops? Does Cyclops speak at all a little bit?
He does speak, but the thing is like the Cyclops he's not like sophisticated in the way that men are, because like he doesn't like obey the laws of Xenia, because when they say, hey, we're seeking refuge, we're just here for a time being, the Cyclops immediately kills like two men and he eats one of them without even cooking them. And that was like kind of to show that the Cyclops wasn't human in a way. Like he was inhuman, of like he didn't like cater to guests, that he didn't like, he just ate raw meat.
Maybe he likes his steaks rare. Some people eat that way, man.
Right.
All right. I don't know. Who would be, did they say who's gonna voice the Cyclops? Did they already say that, or
that I don't think I've heard.
I don't know.
Vin Diesel? I'll pick Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel, get in there, get in the booth, man. Voice the Cyclops.
Out, we are Groot.
Get Christian Bale, reunite him with Nolan so he can do his Batman voice with the Cyclops.
Oh, yeah. Do that. I guess Christopher Nolan's got some new regulars now. He doesn't fuck with Bale anymore, I guess. I guess he wants to blank out Batman from his memory.
Yeah. He asked Christian Bale first, but he said he's like, all right, let me actually put on 12,000 pounds. So I'm the size of the Cyclops. He's like, I can't let you do that to yourself.
I think that's pretty good. The water looks really good there. The blue of the water.
That's one of the few shots that I think I actually really like the color grading in.
Yeah. And do you all think this is the scene they're running away from the Cyclops there? Or
yeah, it's gotta be.
Okay. Yeah, that one dude, he getting the fuck out of there. Dude at the bottom right there, he jumping and shit. Getting the fuck out of there.
promise me you will come back.
What if I can't?
The Odyssey there. Yeah. I mean, it is a Anne Hathaway. I think I can make it back. It's Anne Hathaway. Definitely make it back. All right. That was it. So, yeah. I mean, Mike, I know you said a lot in the start of it. You kind of seem like you unleashed that. Do you have any? I mean, more about it? There about the Odyssey. I mean, you said you're still looking forward to the movie, though.
Yeah, because Christopher Nolan is a good director. It just feels like I don't know. It just feels like a big waste of his own potential as a director. It felt like I don't know. He wanted to like do something a bit safer because he felt like, well, will people like be weirded out if I do any of the designs or anything a bit too out there? So, but it's also that level of like, if you want something that's like historical accuracy, you're not getting that. If you want something that's going to be like mythic accuracy, you're not getting that. If you want something that's going to be like interesting, armor-wise, stylized, like Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula, you're not getting that. It kind of reminds me of like those gritty modern reboots that they gave like Robin Hood in like 2017, where they try to make them like SWAT outfits and like military uniforms.
Oh, Ridley Scott's Robin Hood?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, there's
Russell Crowe.
Yeah. I think that it might be. Yeah, but it's just like why they like it's like it kind of gives them the vibe of like they have crossbows like they're like shotguns and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this more as sort of like a singular artistic experiment more than like a historically or mythical accuracy movie. I'm just here more for like what is Christopher Nolan's take on a big fantasy epic, and yeah, maybe this could have been a little bit more stylized or like interesting look at, but I think Mike is right that the filmmaking should be on point because he knows how to do these movies, but I'm more interested to see like how the fantasy combines with his typical style and how those clashing of styles make for a movie.
What about you, Sage?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be a bad film at the end of the day. I think he is just too good at like all of the technical elements of a film and filmmaking for that to happen. I just wish it was more interesting looking to me personally. I'm sure it's going to have its audience. I don't think it's going to be in danger of not doing well at the box office or anything like that. Although I might watch it on my phone just to annoy Christopher Nolan.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure that it will be a plenty competent film. I just wish I was excited about it, and I'm not. And the casting I think still is a big thing that really sticks out to me. Is I just have a hard time seeing any of these actors in this setting. And I mean, even there was another preview. I guess it was the teaser in the theaters. Tail end of not last year, but a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
Where you did have John Bernthal like going up to Tom Holland, going like, "Hey, let me tell you something, man.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about your dad." And I'm like, they're not acting like they don't feel like they're pulling into this world at all. I feel like they're just kind of them.
Kind of the iPhone face epidemic that we've seen a bit forefront. It's like John Byrne. I think he could fit in a time period like this, but him as Menelaya specifically, it just seems like kind of odd casting. Just.
You need to ban some of those like New Jersey like every couple sentence catchphrases that he has.
No, yeah, it's like John Bernthal really does act like that in every movie he's in. Just like,
and he's really good at it.
He's good.
Things, but that's not the place for it.
But Mike, what if I told you that the Newark Greek Centurion Force was a real thing that existed, and John Bernthal is just pulling from that experience, I guess.
So we saw Matt Damon, we saw Tom Holland, we saw Anne Hathaway, we saw John Bernthal, Benny Safdie. In this trailer, we didn't see Zendaya, who was playing Athena.
That's weird. That's so weird. It's such
playing Athena there. We don't see Charlize Theron, who's playing Cersei. We don't see that. We don't see Robert Pattinson. I know Robert Pattinson. He was in the teaser that showed.
He's Antaeus. He's one of the suitors.
Yeah, he's in that. And then we don't see Lupita Nyong'o. Who's Lupita Nyong'o playing?
She's Helen. We do see her in the previous teaser. She's behind John Bernthal as Agamemnon.
You also have John Leguizamo who's in this.
I'm sure he won't feel even a little out of place when he talks.
Yeah. I'm trying to
Well,
think. What? Maybe one of the suitors or like one of the.
He's the faithful servant to Odysseus.
Okay, slave.
How do you pronounce this? Eumaios. As I say it, EUMA.
It's close enough.
Yeah, Eumaios. Let's see there. I don't know this actor. Him. Oh, I think I do know him. He was in Tenet. Himish Patel.
Yeah. Who is he gonna play?
He says here he's playing Eurycleus.
Eurycleus. He's Odysseus's brother-in-law, and he's his like co-captain. It's kind of fun because he's pretty stupid in the Iliad. Just not that smart of a guy. He's only co-captain because of nepotism, basically.
Oh, okay. Then you have Will Yun Lee, who's one of the shipmates in it there. You also have Mia Goth, who's playing Melantho.
She was one of this. She was Penelope's slave as well.
Yes, as a maid of Odysseus and Penelope there. Jimmy Gonzalez, I don't know, the actor isn't doesn't seem like they have anything here. Cepheus, there's one of also just another shipmate there.
Just to interrupt, this cast is loaded. Like how, like I have to imagine most of these people aren't going to have super big roles because, like, how do you balance out a movie that has like Matt Damon, Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, and not even counting like Zendaya or Robert Pattinson, all Lupita Nyong'o? Like this just seems loaded cast.
And then some other people, I don't know who they're playing, but they're also supporting. You have Elliot Page in this as well.
I'm guessing he's playing Tiresias, just as like, because Tiresias's gender did change twice in the myth. And so some people have been assuming he's playing Tiresias the prophet in the underworld, who is, Tiresias is a man now, because he was a man, then he was a woman, then he was a man again. And he gave birth actually as a woman, which is like, that's interesting, but just...
That's why he turned back into a man. He's like, oh man, I'm not doing this again.
Yeah, he stepped on the snake again. But
then you got Corey Hawkins, you got James Remar, you have Logan Marshall Green. Damn, he couldn't get Tom Hardy back. He brought in fake Tom Hardy, brought in Logan Marshall Green.
To be honest, I think Tom Hardy would probably fit more as Odysseus than Matt Damon, especially like remember the first 5 minutes of Fury Road where we see Tom Hardy and he's all like tan, and he has like a big beard. And he's kind of short too, because that's an interesting thing about Odysseus is that he's not like that remarkably attractive in a lot of descriptions. He's kind of unextraordinary. The only thing that really sticks out is that he has this really kind of grotesque scar on his leg that gives him away. And Matt Damon, like he's a handsome man, but it's like, I don't know, he feels a bit too generic Hollywood leading man for me.
Okay. Any of you feel like that? Maybe should have been maybe somebody like some other Christopher Nolan regulars, Christian Bale, Tom Hardy. Maybe
I definitely am not feeling Matt Damon. I don't know who I would want for sure instead, but I'm definitely not feeling Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Just like I don't. This is
it's not that I don't like him at all. I just this particular part just doesn't seem right.
It could have been interesting to have like a more unknown actor play the lead role and maybe have all the supporting actors be like the household names, just as sort of a clashing of like, tiers of actors, because like as it is right now, everyone here is borderline everyone is an A-list actor. So it would have been interesting in that regard, but yeah.
So we'll see. This movie's coming out July 17th, 2026 there. We'll see there. Be interesting if John Bernthal just says fuck this, pulls out an AK, pulls out a M16. double M16 there. Oh man.
As long as he doesn't rub the back of his head too much like he did in Walking Dead.
That's his tick, man. He got to do that, man. That's like when Florence Pugh does the frowny face. He got to rub the back of his head, man. That's the interesting ticks there. Man, it'd be funny if he does the double M16 shot and it says "in the memory of Homer." It'd be funny. Kind of good there. Before I let you guys go, let's look at some of these YouTube comments. Let's see what some of these YouTube people, what the streets are saying. This comment says, props to Christian Bale for removing one of his eyes for the role of Cyclops. Unbelievable commitment to the craft. people have also been pointing this out. It seems like Matt Damon has a lot of movies where his whole plot of the movie is he has to get back home. Someone says with this comment, once again, Matt Damon needs to go back home. He did that in The Martian. He did that in the Bourne movies. He did that in that. So people are saying like it's another premise where he has to go that. Yes, there's that. Somebody said can't wait for the musical edits on this. Well, that let's see here. Somebody mentioned I Am Batman there with that one. So yeah. So have you all been seeing some chatter? So you think people mostly yay or nay on this? Mostly
The people seem very split.
okay.
I've seen a lot of both. I've seen a lot of both.
I do think though, if this was like 10 years ago, more people would have been on Nolan's side to a degree. However, at this point, with like the rise of Greek myth retellings and kind of like more people of like producers and archaeologists and like people who are like experienced in classical art and like mythology are like, hey, I think you're kind of overstepping to a degree here. That's kind of caused more of a discussion now because it's just we've had stuff like Song of Achilles, the Percy Jackson show is getting revamped, got the epic music. It's not even to say like all these are bad, they're not, but it's like at this level of like now there's a lot more critical reception. These are like hitting, especially with like the more obvious cash grabs we get with like Greek myth retellings you see now.
I also just feel slightly burdened with Nolan. Like, still overall a great record, but ever since Tenet came out, I'm like, okay, he can make a bad movie. Like,
I never saw it.
He's not incapable of it. Like, it doesn't, tarnish all of his great films or, mean that he can't make other great films in the future. But that possibility exists now. So
yeah, I mean, you're not wrong about Tenet not being very good. As far as like reaction to the Odyssey, I'm kind of with everyone. I've seen like a mix of both, but I mean, I do, I stand by where I think this will more than likely be at least a good movie, but like, I don't know. It's Oppenheimer's going to be a hard act to follow because Oppenheimer is viewed as a great movie by most people. And, this is so stylistically different from that. And so stylistically different than what people expect from typical Greek mythology stuff that it could be a hard sell to some audiences, even though I think it will mostly succeed with most like mainstream audiences. The hardcore people, the more like intellectual people, not sure about.
So for Sage and Mike, so is this what you wanted right here?
Maybe not the AI, but just
I mean,
something like that because that's the thing. Like the armor is a lot more moldable than that in real life.
Yeah, the plates aren't quite as like.
Yeah.
They feel like they feel like jagged and like they're not fully like clicking into each other.
Even something like the Odyssey miniseries armor and looks. I would take that over like a lot of the looks here.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's also like kind of like world building to a degree, just in general when you are doing a series like this, because like kind of the point is like Odysseus was from the smallest kingdom. And like he had to like kind of like put on the most flair when he went to the Trojan War because he had the most to lose.
And this was the Odyssey miniseries. Let me show a little bit of it here. So this is one from 1997 here. Yeah. Okay. I know that actor. I think I've seen him in some stuff.
Yeah, he's an Italian guy.
Yeah. Okay. So you had that as well there. That's not Vivica Fox?
Is that Thandie Newton?
No, that's not Thandie. I don't think that's Thandie Newton. That's I forgot her name. That's not Vivica. I forgot that actress's name. But
Vanessa Williams.
Yeah, Vanessa Williams. Yeah. Oh. Vanessa Williams. Yeah.
Yeah, she played Calypso.
Okay, yeah. So you got that. Oh. Yeah, so it was woke. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right, yeah. So the Odyssey, there, Christopher Nolan's there. Thank you so much, Mike. Thanks to you, man.
No problem.
One more time, what can people check out? What they can find? What you got going on, man?
Oh yeah, you can find me on YouTube, on TikTok, on Blue Sky, on Twitter, on all those places. I do animation. I'm doing original animations. I work on other projects. My TikTok is also where I talk about like a lot of like just pop culture, like history and mythology. I also use references for like my Greek mythology videos. But if you're interested, just totally check any of that out. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care, man.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Catch you later.
All right. Our next trailer. There is going to be X-Men. So I'm not going to show the trailer because they're going to probably strike down any. It hasn't officially released yet of it. So I'm probably going to do that. I know that Neil has not seen it. There, so he's not seen it. I watched it once. How many times have you seen it? I think because I'm trying to remember like exactly what he says in it. There, but
in the trailer, this is the is this the Thor one or the X-Men one we're talking about?
we could do both, but I'm talking about the X-Men one right now.
Okay.
I've actually seen the GIF version of this trailer, like not an official YouTube version, but like the GIF version of it I found online. So I have seen it at this point.
Okay.
I think what I saw, didn't have audio attached to it.
Right.
Oh, you didn't
that's
see
the
it.
one. That's the one I saw too.
Okay, I had the one that had audio on it.
Gotcha.
So the audio, it's Professor X. You have Patrick Stewart in it. There's a narration. So this is what I'm getting. I mean, from Reddit, this is what they're saying they said because I don't remember word for word exactly what he said. I've only seen it once. So it says Xavier says, "Death comes for us all." That's all I know for sure.
Over and over again.
Yeah, over and over. I mean, Xavier has died a couple times already.
It's like
in some movie.
4 or 5 gonna be this movie.
Then you have Magneto here, who is also, you got Ian McKellen back there, who says the question is, isn't are you prepared to die? The question is, who will you be when you close your eyes there? And then, so then you have also Xavier, who's in, of course, his wheelchair, and he rolls up to Magneto, who's like sitting down. I don't know exactly where they are because it's like, for
It
some
looked
reason,
like the mansion.
The mansion, okay, because the shit was also super grainy. All this shit is super grainy. I don't know why this shit is shot like in a cave.
It's like people are still using camcorders from like 2004.
Well, whoever is leaking all these Marvel trailers recently, they have the flip phone special effect going on their camera, so that's funny.
Yeah, so it's something with that kind of going on. So okay, so it was kind of the X Mansion that it did look like. Now I'm okay, I think I got the trailer here, so I'm looking at it. So it does look like
maybe it's that smartphones make too much light, so they get old flip phones to go and record things.
Oh, that's more sneakier, pulling out that than your iPhone there.
Not a bad theory.
So you got that. So it's a short one. It's only like a minute and something. And then the thing that people are really freaking out over is you have Cyclops in it, who's in his classic Cyclops outfit there from the comics, and then he takes off his what do you call it? Visor. That's a good word. I'm trying to look for the word there. Thank you. Visor there, and he goes full optic blast and he shoots it.
It looks like they're trying to replicate the opening credits shot of the 90s animated series where he falls to his knees, and
Oh, that's a good point there, because I know he's done that, because he even did that in the X-Men animated series a bunch. He did that quite a bit there, where he go full optic blast. Now I don't know exactly where he is when he does that. He's surrounded by a lot of like fire and rubble. And
I have a theory.
Okay, and what is that theory there?
I feel like this might be the flashback of the X-Men dying from the Deadpool and Wolverine's Wolverine.
Oh, could be.
Okay, so let's see a theory there. What about you, Neil?
I just assumed it was the X-Mansion. I assumed that like Doom was doing some multiverse shenanigans stuff and raining down stuff, and he was just trying to hit Doom. But I actually kind of like Sage's theory better, just because it would tie in more with. It wouldn't make Deadpool and Wolverine just a weird side tangent. It would tie it more to the story.
Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much. I mean, it seems like people are responding to this more positively than the other teasers. They responded to this much more positively than the Steve Rogers teaser, which people just seem like they just clowned on that one. And then the Thor teaser, that was just like you said. I didn't see that one at all. That was just him talking to Love or something, right?
Yeah, basically.
They was just doing that, so that way it was. So it seems like this one people are the most positive about. Why do you think that is?
I mean, I think the shot of Cyclops. One, I think it's comic accurate costume for the first time. Every time that happens, people seem to get excited, whether it's like a good movie or a bad movie or just that almost is irrelevant. It's just like seeing that iconography brought to life is just inherently is going to get some people excited no matter what. And then the shot does look a lot like the animated series shot of him on his knees. So I mean, it's pressing an extra nostalgia button there. I guess it feels to me, it feels like it's playing on the same nostalgia notes that the Steve Rogers one is. It's just maybe because of that one shot, it looks more action packed. I don't know. I don't know. To me, there's really not much more here than there was in the other one.
Yeah, I think the more positive reception is just because this one is more visually striking than the Steve Rogers and Thor ones. But I don't know. I think a lot of it is just kind of superficial, quite honestly, because like substantively, I mean, yeah, it's cool that Cyclops is like blasting whatever it is he's blasting, but I just have a hard time getting excited about anything related to this movie, to be quite honest. So, you know,
I've been one of the biggest doomers on this movie, so I understand.
Yeah, I'm not even like an MCU hater like nowadays or anything, but I'm just like, boy, this
is a movie.
This ain't, Dune Part 3 is supposedly coming out on the same day as this still. I will be in Dune Part 3 day one rather than Doomsday.
Same. I honestly think because of how big the cast for this movie is and how much they're paying just for Robert Downey Jr. Like these movies, at least Doomsday for sure, probably Secret Wars 2 are going to have to make like $1 billion just to be profitable. Opening against Dune 3, which is kind of doing for like big budget sci-fi what the Lord of the Rings films did for big budget fantasy and like being like a mainstream hit. I think Dune 3 is going to crush this movie if they don't change release dates. Like I think for their own sake, I think they should change when this is coming out.
Well, I mean, Dune has the benefit of being something completely different than Doomsday is, because like Dune is much more like hardcore sci-fi with like with like Hollywood, flourishes, but like substantively very hardcore and heady sci-fi material. Where this is like, for lack of a better word, popcorn stuff. And,
absolutely.
I think just, at least for me, part of the reason it's hard to get excited for this is because, one, there has not really been a very clear direction for where the MCU has been going since Endgame. So to have Doctor Doom show up and the X-Men and Steve Rogers and Thor and all these and everyone and their dog, it's kind of hard to get excited about, because it's like I don't feel like I'm invested in this whole team up. It'd be like, for the comic nerds out there, it'd be like reading Crisis on Infinite Earths without any understanding about who Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, or Supergirl is beforehand.
I'm 100% with you all the way. And I mean, and the other thing with Dune is it's the third in a trilogy of, at least this director seems to want to stop at 3, but it's also like 2 successful films and like the conclusion to this director's vision that people are like really excited about, and it's had that build up, and like it's just gonna do well for all those things. And then like you said, Doomsday's had no build up. There's been nothing to build up this plot. Like I guess the Marvel's post credit scene matters, I guess now. Like that's about all I'm getting from it. It feels and I've said this before, I think Chadwick Boseman was the next Robert Downey Jr. They didn't know what to do when he died. And they've tried things, and some of them have worked okay, and others not at all. And now they're just like, all right, everybody get back in here. We're like hemorrhaging money. And then again with the budget, if this fails, like I think are big changes in the structure over at how Disney is or Marvel is producing these things.
They should have done big structures right after Endgame, because like part of the issue with this phase of the MCU is the fact that you still have Kevin Feige kind of, guiding the ship, but like it doesn't feel like enough of a shift has happened since Endgame. It just kind of feels like, more of the same, but with like less established characters that they haven't taken the time to like really fully develop and realize. Like
because
Where
no
has
one's gotten a second entry.
Yeah, like why hasn't Shang-Chi gotten a second movie in like the 4 or 5 years since his movie came out? Like where's Miss Marvel, the big Miss Marvel movie that wasn't like the Disney Plus show or the team up movie she had? Like they've had so many opportunities to build up potentially new characters, and they've either A, not taken advantage of them, or B, in this instance of Sam Wilson's Captain America, totally fumbled the ball when given the chance to do so.
Yep. And I mean, I think I also it feels like a big just case of they're throwing things at the wall and seeing what stuck, and then not wanting to like do the work of following up on anything.
Yeah. They should have recast Chadwick. I'm sorry, they should have just recast Chadwick as Black Panther.
I think they probably will post Secret Wars, because I do think as a film, their intention right now, we'll see if that changes after these movies either succeed or bomb. But I do think that they're going to set up a soft reboot sort of thing where they can just say, okay, we own everything. Everything, every right is here. We're just going to hit sort of a refresh button, and everything's in one world going forward. But I don't know if that'll actually be good,
but like you can't really do that in films. Like at least in comic books, like you can get new artists, you can get new writers to like draw or write Black Panther or Iron Man and all these characters differently. But like it doesn't really work like that when you're in a medium where people age and like stuff like that.
How's it going there, Ninetale Phoenix? How's it going there? Very much appreciated there.
And I think part of the problem is it got to be so successful, and the sort of mythology of Marvel Comics got to be so mainstream exposed, and then do well, that I think they overestimated just how much of comic book style storytelling the mainstream audiences was actually willing to put up with. Because I still see like people like my like my girlfriend's parents, just as an example. Some of the multiverse stuff, like they'll ask me questions about it during like the holiday, and I'll try and explain it, and they'll be like, "We wanted to watch this, but I don't get it." Like they will be like, "I don't understand how these things connect to each other." And I think there's probably a decent amount of the mainstream audience that just is like, "This is too complicated. This is off-putting."
Well, especially with like,
when did Steve Rogers go black? I said, when did that happen? I didn't know he was a black man. When did that happen?
Well, especially with like the multiverse stuff, like at least with the Infinity Gauntlet and stuff, it's easy to explain. Like magic stones make bad things happen, and that's easy to follow. But like when you start explaining, like, okay, well, this version of Spider-Man is in the same movie with Tom Holland Spider-Man, but Green Goblin is from this other version, but it's not like. It starts to get a bit too much for like normie audiences.
I think it does. And then the one exception is the Spider-Verse movies. But the reason why I think that works, well, one is it's got so much of its storytelling is just in its character, that the multiverse stuff is not necessarily the most important thing about it. You don't have to attach yourself to follow the film. But also, its entire sort of spine and like structure of how their multiverse works is all explained within that one story, not pieces being dropped in different things that you have to connect together to get what's going on.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I with this trailer, I think maybe like Sage was saying, a lot of the probably appeal why people probably like this more, because you do have X-Men and you do have the nostalgia of that, and you get the characters in their classic costume. You got Cyclops in his classic costume, and it's more action oriented. It's more like him using his optic blast there in full force. And so, oh, what is he doing? What is he, what's going on there? So it creates more excitement there with that. I don't know exactly in the, we say?
I was just gonna say, I think it's gonna be really funny if I'm right, and that's just him getting like stepped on by like a sentinel or something like 2 seconds later, because that's exactly what everybody was so mad about when X-Men 3 came out. And if history repeats itself, I'm gonna laugh.
And then I don't know why, because in the trailer, Magneto looks very haggard. He looks, I mean, it could be just Ian McKellen, but I
think that's part of it.
You see that Magneto's got a full beard. He's got kind of his hair looks kind of all over the place. I don't know if there could be something there. I don't know exactly what's going on there with
He
that.
forgot to go to the barber that day, and it just so happened to be when Doom was coming. So that explains the look.
Okay.
I know some people are saying his long hair looked like the costume, the purple costume that has the giant M on it that we did see in the animated series last year.
Oh,
So it could be that. That could be
Because
his look.
Xavier does have the green shirt with like the red X on the. It is that
Oh.
it is his like. Again, I think these are the things that people are getting
Like
excited
here.
about. Yeah, that's his like green sort of uniform he has in that show. But I think that's all people are like attaching themselves to. Well, he's
just
dressed
so-
in his costume from Cats. It looks like.
It's just so weird that like the X-Men are like going to be one of the big pillars of this Doomsday movie. Yet, at least in this iteration of the X-Men, we don't have an establishing feature about who this version of the X-Men are. I mean,
Right.
you know, we have the Fox movies, and you know, look, everyone knows the Fox X-Men movies for better or for worse. But at the same time, this particular version of the X-Men have no foundation to be fighting Doctor Doom or interacting with Thor and Steve Rogers and whoever else shows up in this. So it's just kind of a very strange choice, I would say.
I think you just hit the nail on the head right there, because this is sort of an example of what I think the laziest storytelling you can do with the multiverse concept, and why people are tired with the multiverse concept right now and feel like it's overdone, is when you use it to just sort of slot in easy attention grabbing things with like, yeah, it's like we don't know that character, but the people making the movie are basically relying on you knowing another version of that character to care about what this is, even though they haven't actually done any work to make you care. They're just relying on someone else's work to try and trick you into caring.
Like Deadpool and Wolverine, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like you said with the Spider-Verse example, just piggybacking off of that, like at least with that particular movie, those are like unique versions of Peter Parker. Yeah. Like Peter B. Parker is a unique iteration of that character, and so is Gwen Stacy, and so is Penny Parker, and all the different variations that exist. At least it's not trying to say like the mainline Peter Parker is like going with Miles on this adventure. At least, you know, those are unique iterations to get attached to and establish.
Yeah, and if you take the time to do that work in within your story, I mean, you can make this concept work just fine. But with the size of the cast in Doomsday, it's like, how are you going to have time to give me like new material with this character to make me care about their entire story in the chaos of what all of this is?
Steve Rogers as a kid, so that automatically makes you care about what he's doing and everything.
Right. And I asked you this question, Sage, there, but I also posed the question to Neil there. These leaks, I mean, what do you think is going on? All these leaks are happening with all these trailers. I mean, do you think, there's something behind that, or you think, no, it's just, you know, people just recording it and that's it?
I think there's a double agent working at Marvel and just like being a little gremlin and leaking all this stuff. I don't think they're doing it for like, you know, any sort of real reason other than just to do it. I just think it's a guy or girl who's just wants to, you know, watch the world burn and things like that.
Yeah. Because a lot of these, aren't they showing at the theater, right? They're just showing before Avatar, because each of these are showing before Avatar, right? Or
they all look like that cell phone camera footage you'd see from a theater.
Yeah, they all look, yeah.
Well, and we haven't even talked about the Spider-Man one that leaked, because like that got leaked as well. And
yeah,
you know, there's a bunch of theories on that, but it's just like this is like the third major, you know, MCU thing that's leaked, and that's not a coincidence after 3 times.
Well, because all the Avengers trailers leaked, Doomsday trailer, and then the Spider-Man Brand New Day that leaked as well. Then I don't know. They might as well just officially release the Avengers Doomsday trailer already.
They did with the Steve Rogers one.
Okay, they did. So they did release.
That one's just straight up online.
Oh, okay. So that one. No, I'm not the Steve Rogers one, but the one that's
the X-Men one.
Not the X-Men one. So they're doing Steve Rogers Thor, the X-Men one, and then after those 3, there'll be like the Avengers Doomsday teaser trailer for the movie itself there. Which you said is going to be just a combination, like each of all the trailers.
I wouldn't be shocked if it's just the footage from each of the separate teasers, but in one longer video.
Yeah.
I assumed the fourth one would have been like a Doctor Doom Fantastic Four
Oh.
one where it's just like setting up whatever rivalry they can set up with Mr. Fantastic and Doctor Doom and all that.
Yeah, I think okay. I did read that they were supposed to do a Doom one too before.
I wouldn't be
do.
surprised if the main trailer is that.
Okay, this the main. Yeah, maybe the main one is. So
you got to market Robert Downey Jr.'s face. That's how this movie's going to make its money.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and we talked about it. We said, is Robert Downey, are they going to show him, or are they going to just keep him hidden until the movie comes out? Are they going to keep him in the mask, or what?
I mean, what I've always said is that the only way I'm going to actually like how they adapt the character is going to be if what was that?
Oh, sorry, my phone's linked to my computer,
okay.
so
No
sorry.
Worries. No, you're good. I think the only way this movie is actually good and does this character justice is if they go with the face being so disfigured that you can't tell it's Robert Downey Jr. playing the character, and they don't play off of the gimmick of him. I don't, however, think that's going to be what happens. I think they're going to put his face in the trailer, and he's going to have like a little itty bitty scar above his eyebrow.
It's going to be like Sexy Frankenstein. It's going to be like that.
Yeah, well, and they'll use the excuse because in the very, very original appearance of the character, he did have a much more minor scar in those 60 comics in the 60s books. So it was very minor back then, and then later in the comic universe, they made it like a more gnarly looking thing. So they'll use the excuse.
All the actors want FaceTime on all their movies, so they're gonna want Robert Downey Jr. and play off the whole I can't fight Tony Stark, but it's not Tony Stark thing.
Yeah. Oh, I hate it 3000, and that's exactly what I've been expecting this movie to be. Yeah,
right.
You know what? Fuck it. You know what? Because he wouldn't take the damn mask off at any point. Carl Urban at this point would be a better Doctor Doom.
Yeah,
so
I mean, at least
they're just gonna do this.
I would. I mean, come on. They're paying him $100 million per film. There's no way they're covering his face up.
Wait, is that per film?
Yes, or per film. Per film. And that is not even talking about him making money off of like the merchandising sales that he's been getting since the first Avengers with every contract. And that is just his baseline appearance.
Wow, no wonder he came back if he was offered $100 million per film.
Yeah. And there's no way they're not showing his face for that money.
Yeah.
She's just gonna be a Sylvester Stallone Judge Dredd type BRDJ. Basically, never had the mask on.
That's exactly what I think is going to happen. That's what I've been expecting since they announced his casting.
Well, the most they'll do is they'll have him wear like his green cloak or whatever, and like it'll shroud him sort of like in like Anakin Skywalker does in Revenge of the Sith. But like that's the most we'll get about the Doom look.
Now I'm like honestly like in hindsight kind of upset extra about the Fox Disney merger, because before that happened, Noah Hawley, who did the Legion series, was in talks and had written a script for like an R-rated like standalone Doctor Doom film that he said Mads Mikkelsen was his like personal like hopeful. I want him to do this. So that's missed opportunity.
Well, we missed out on, man. We missed out on.
Off the back of something like Logan happening too, like you can't tell me that wouldn't have been better than what we're going to be getting.
That would have been kind of cool, like especially with the Penguin, he got his own miniseries and that turned out really damn good. So,
and I think that Doctor Doom character has a particularly deep sort of just story to himself in the comics, and you could do so much with it. And I just don't think we're going to get any of that. I think the casual normie audience is going to walk away from this movie saying and genuinely thinking that Doctor Doom is kind of just an extension of Iron Man as a character.
Will they? Because like there's been two Doctor Doom, like there's been two major adaptations of Doctor Doom in movies. Like
you're right, but one of them nobody saw, and I. But to be fair to the Tim Story 2000s movies, people will remember those. But I also think like a lot of people under like 20 right now that are going to be like a huge part of the casual audience for these.
Right.
They don't really, unless they're comic readers themselves, they don't really know or care about Doctor Doom. And you gotta kind of market to those like 18, 20-year-old like moviegoers for these sorts of superhero movies.
I mean, you're probably right, because like how much of pop culture's understanding of who Thanos is because of Infinity War and Endgame, and not his actual comic book
Yeah, nobody thinks
motivations
of
and stuff
Thanos
like
as the
that.
Grim Reaper Gooter, you know?
Right.
So yeah, that was X-Men trailer there for Avengers Doomsday. We'll be back when they leak another one, so we'll be back
All
here.
right.
Couple days,
See
maybe.
see you in a week, guys.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sage, man.
Yeah.
Much appreciated. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully. Tomorrow,
Yeah.
if you can still do it.
Definitely.
Tomorrow, Sage and I got Jujutsu Kaisen, Dispatch, Metal Gear Solid Delta, your review Assassin's Creed Shadows DLC. Everything like
Rant
that.
review somewhere, something like that.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't want to overwhelm the show, but there also, there's It and Pluribus. We'll probably just do that next Monday.
Okay.
It and Pluribus there.
Sounds good to me.
All right, man. Take care. Have a good one.
All right. Have a
Catch
good
you
night.
later.
Okay there.
All right, let me turn off my phone real quick so it doesn't keep dinging. Sorry, 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. While Neil goes through that, get a review up. We're gonna do Left-Handed Girl. We're gonna do Bride. Neil has his review of One Battle After the Other. He wants to do there as well. He wants to do that. Very cool there. So the reviews come up there. Yeah. Let's see. And he is back here.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No worries there. All right. Let's do this review of Left-Handed Girl.
All right, let's talk about Left-Handed Girl.
And then I'll pull up my trailer for it here. Let me do that.
All right.
Let's see. There was also a movie. I'll do a solo review. There's a movie called Secret Agent there as well.
Okay.
There. I don't know if you've heard about the movie, but
I have no idea what it is, so that'll be interesting.
Okay. Let me pull my notes for this. Left-Handed Girl. Good old Left-Handed Girl.
Do you want to just do my best movies of the year list later this week, or?
Yeah, because do it later this week because I gotta go see a movie later on. I gotta go see that Hugh Jackman movie.
All right, let me know what time later this week, and we'll arrange it. Okay.
Okay, sure thing. All right, people. So, our first review of the day is going to be for the movie Left-Handed Girl. Left-Handed Girl is a movie directed by Si-Ching Su there. She is a frequent collaborator there with Sean Baker. People might know Sean Baker doing such movies as Tangerine and The Florida Project and Red Rocket. So she's produced a lot of those movies there. She co-directed one film with Sean Baker called Takeout there. And she has a movie on Netflix right now called Left-Handed Girl. I've heard a lot about this movie, people raving about it. And then when people said that, it's from the producer of a lot of the movies, the Sean Baker films there as well. And once you see this movie, you will definitely pick up on that connection there. It's very much similar in style to a lot of those movies there as well. And this movie's on Netflix right now. And I think for a lot of this movie, she shot it on an iPhone. The director did. So what is this movie about? Well, you have two women. We have actually, two women there, and they have a young daughter there. You have like a mother and two daughters, and they're both just trying to navigate life. They recently moved. You have the mother there who works at like a noodle stand, like a strip of all these kind of different stands there she works at. And they're just kind of trying to kind of figure things out, navigate life there. And it's very much like when I mentioned like something like Florida Project or something like Tangerine. It's kind of just a day in the life. It's a slice of life type thing of these characters in kind of the different situations they are. And then also these people, they're not very wealthy. They're not, super well off. So it's just kind of how they're kind of just struggling to get by a lot of times. And you have it where, the left-handed girl in question, which is this little girl there who's told, from her grandfather that, being left-handed is a sign of the devil and everything like that, which kind of gives her a complex there. So that's what you kind of got here with this movie there. And, just seeing them through these characters' lives and how they're kind of making it. Neil, what are your thoughts here, man, on Left-Handed Girl?
So it's funny that you mentioned Sean Baker because I knew about the connection, but I've actually never seen a Sean Baker movie. Like I never saw Nora, I never saw Tangerine or Florida Project or any of those. So this is sort of my first exposure to this sort of style of film, and yeah, I thought this was a very compelling, really raw and kind of tense and emotional slice of life movie. But I thought it did what it was trying to do very well because these characters are very they're always living on the fringes. Like they're almost always kicked out of their noodle stand for not paying rent. Both the girls are having troubles in school and like adapting to their new life there and form bad habits because of their lack of attention from their mother and the stress of the city around them. And I just thought that everything this movie did, from exploring sort of the clashing of generations and ideas and all this around them, was really effective and very stressful, quite honestly, because this is one of those movies where like it's very good and I would recommend it to you, but it's so raw and just emotional at points that I have a hard time going back to it at points, but it is great.
Mm. Yeah, I think if you like this, I think you definitely will like something like Tangerine or the Florida Project or a Nora. Because like I said, very similar in those veins there. And with this movie, I mean, the characters in this as well. So you have the mother there who she's the one running the stand. The father is in the hospital and he requires constant care. I don't know. I don't think they exactly say what happened to the father there, why he is in the hospital. But maybe some issue with like, I don't know. It looks like he's like paralyzed, maybe from like the neck down. It looks like. Um,
Right.
but he's in the hospital there, which is draining a lot of their funds because they constantly have to pay for him to be there. So the mother's trying to deal with that and running the stand, and like you said, constantly being able to pay rent and trying to find money for rent. Then you have the oldest daughter there, who she's also works in the night market. She works at a different stand under this guy who she's having an affair with. There, he's married and she's having an affair with him, um and that creates a lot of problems. The stand, I think they sell like cigarettes or something like that. They sell kind of a variety of different little things there.
Right.
And then you got that, and then you have this the little girl there who, and the oldest daughter, her name is Ian there. And then the oh, you're gonna say something more?
No, and the little girl is named E Jing, so yeah.
Yeah, Yi Jing there, and the mother's name, Shufin, there as well. And then the little girl, she you see her sometimes in school there, but a lot of she's just helping around with the noodle stand, and then also she's kind of going around throughout this night market there, and following the camera follows her through her little adventures kind of around the night market and doing all these other little different things. Um, so it's kind of interesting. And then you got also like, which is interesting about these movies, you also have like a very good supporting cast in these type of movies where it's all these other different interesting figures that kind of come into it, like Johnny, for example. He's a guy that begins a relationship with the mother, and he works at like an adjoining stand there next to it. He sells basically everything, basically. One-stop shop for all that different type of stuff. So he's, with her. And then also you have the grandmother who doing something very illegal
Mm.
there, that she's doing, selling fake passports to people there, maybe participating in human trafficking to a degree.
Yeah,
uh
I kind of get the impression that she was just like selling the passports and just sort of smuggling like duty-free items into the country because she was talking about how often she visits the states and things like that.
Yeah. So you got a lot of that kind of going on. Who, seems like, she's, which they go to her for money sometimes because things are not doing so well. So yeah, I mean the supporting cast also is very interesting there. And like I said, the thing about this is like, what's all this going to come to a head? When are all these things going to finally collide there? And things are kind of, it's like like when you leave a pot on the stove, it's like something eventually it's all going to just boil over, which is
Right.
also, kind of very interesting there. And it's just chaotic energy, like when you see a Josh Safdie, Benny Safdie film, that uncut gems, good time, kind of chaotic nature, chaotic energy that's in it, this frantic kind of nature.
That's
Um,
actually a really good comparison to Uncut Gems and Good Time in particular, just because there are so many like there are so many like boiling pots on the stove on this that like any one of them could be their own movie. Just like the struggle the mom has to pay rent, and this sort of budding relationship he has with the I sell everything guy Johnny, and the problems that the daughters have. All these could have their own really emotional climaxes. So like when it comes to a head, and you see how all these stories tie in together, it's really tense and raw and like just very emotional, I thought.
Yeah, raw is a very good way to describe it. Very raw, very emotional. Especially the ending of it, where like I said, everything comes to head. Like that's a that's a big moment in it. Like that really works as well there. And just this is always a very popular theme. Intergenerational trauma. That's a big thing in a lot of movies nowadays.
Right.
That's very much brought up here, but also just a lot of other things, subjects there, just about, it gets brought up women's kind of role in a society like this, in Asian society. That's kind of, I think, much seen through the lenses of this film there, of that, especially for the eldest daughter and what she kind of goes through. Um,
Hmm.
that is very impactful there. So, yeah, I like that quite a bit there, them doing a lot of that. Yeah, I was very impressed by this. I saw this on a lot of best of lists, when it was out there, and it made me want to check it out. And I already have Netflix, so I was like, hey, I might as well go check it out since I already do have Netflix. How did you hear about this movie?
I just heard about it through like film news sites and stuff like that. I always like looking for lesser known films just to see just to support the arts and stuff like that. And this movie kept coming up, and I thought, hey, I've never seen anything Sean Baker's associated with, and I think this looked really interesting, and it turned out it really was. One other thing I would just say when you're talking about the themes and the story this tackles, I think this is just a really interesting examination about like the importance of family units in general, just because a lot of the problems that exist in this movie are formed because of lack of family connections, or family connections that deteriorate because of life and the responsibilities and things like that. And I just thought it was a really good examination about the importance of families and like maintaining those connections, just because you see the dark paths people can go down if they have no guidance in life and are just left to their own devices. So it did really good with that.
Mm, okay. So what would you give Left-Handed Girl?
I think this is a high peak cinema. I think this is a very good, very well done, emotional and raw movie that I probably don't want to revisit very often because of just how tense everything is. But I think this is a great piece of cinema. And I think this does a really good job exploring the daily trials and tribulations that exist in modern life, and just how tense everything can be, and how important people and connections are. So high peak cinema for me. I would recommend it wholeheartedly.
Yes, I give it a peak cinema as well there. And yeah, a lot of movies like this, yeah, they're the type of movies that it's like, yeah, this ain't a fun, just put this movie on and kind of, forget about all your worries and troubles there. This ain't that type of movie there. But yeah, very good, very well done. I'd love to see her direct more movies in the future there. And see what she kind of does later on there with that. But yeah, and greatly enjoyed a lot of the also performances in this as well. A lot of it, everybody does a strong job, especially the little girl. I mean, shout out to the little girl as well.
Oh yeah, that
She's
actress's name is Nina Ye. She does a great job in this.
yeah, she does really, really well. They're very natural. Like, and also like a lot of what these movies, what they're able to do so well is get people that they don't feel like they're acting. They feel like it's just people, just you're just getting a fly on the wall type situation there, and looking at them and getting to see them with their lives there. I think they have that great quality with a lot of these movies. And that goes a tribute, I think, to the director. The director was able to pull out that performance from people there, which is really nice. So yeah, two peaks. You give it a high peak, I give it just an average peak for Left-Handed Girl. Very awesome there.
Yeah, sounds good.
Um, very good there. All right. Did you want to do your review one battle after another? Did you want to?
Yeah, I'll tackle one battle after another.
All right. Let's get into it. So Neil has his review of one battle after another. I already reviewed it there with Dusk. But I'm interested to hear what Neil says there about this movie. He's getting
All
high
right.
praise, obviously, all around. So Neil.
All right. So I have not seen every Paul Thomas Anderson movie. This is his latest feature starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Infinity Chase, Sean Penn, and Regina Hall, and it is about a group of former far left activists slash terrorists who are being hunted down because of a tragic incident that happened years and years ago that has caused all of them to be under the eye of law enforcement and in particular Sean Penn. And I thought this was a fantastic movie. I think this is one of the most richly developed cast of characters I've seen in a movie this year. And I admittedly thought it took a little bit of time to get going to where it was going, but once I really saw what it was doing and everything it entailed, I was fully enthralled by the whole thing. I think everyone gives a borderline career best performance, quite honestly. I think Leonardo DiCaprio is terrific. Sean Penn is legitimately one of the most detestable characters I've seen in a movie in quite some time. And I think Infinity Chase, who plays Leo's daughter in this movie in particular, is just astounding. Like, quite honestly, I think this is one of my favorite performances of the year, in particular from this actress. And if I were in charge of the Academy and awards and stuff like that, I would give her at bare minimum a Best Actress nomination for this. But aside from the acting, I think just the story. I really enjoyed the story of this. I think it has very obvious political messaging at points. You can definitely know where the heart is put on its sleeve at points, but I think it does a really great job of exploring why these characters are in the situations they are and exploring the complexity of the actions they took, because there's a lot of really interesting social commentary about like who exactly is hunted and why, because you start to notice that like it's all the black activists that are like more hunted down than the white ones, because like comparatively speaking, Leonardo DiCaprio gets off the hook much more cleanly than like Regina Hall and the person that plays his daughter's mother does. And it's just kind of an interesting
Tiana Taylor.
Yeah, Tiana Taylor, who's also great in this. And I really liked there's a lot of really interesting social commentary that's not done explicitly through the text that I thought was quite fascinating. And to top it all off, once the action starts going and the hunt is on for Leo and all of his associates, it's amazing. It's quite good. It's got some very tense action and chase sequences, and they're all elevated by the fact that these characters are so richly developed and so well acted. I think just the fact that you have Sean Penn playing just this nasty, nasty guy who is chasing after them really elevates the tension. And I thought everything that this movie did was quite well done and really deserving of all the accolades it gets. I think it's going to get nominated for tons of Academy Award nominations, and it's not going to win all of them, but I think it deserves every nomination it gets.
When do they announce the nominations there for the Academy?
I think like late January or early February, because they gotta like have all the people vote in it. But yeah, it's gonna get tons of nominations, and I would strongly implore them to nominate, if nothing else, Infinity Chase for Best Actress in this.
Yeah. So you were right. So it is late January. They do that. I like Chase Affinity a lot. She seems like, I wonder what she's going to do after this. And I think this was her first thing ever. I think, right? As far as movie goes, I don't think she's been in anything else movie wise.
Right. Well, she was in the Apple series, Presumed Innocent. She played Jake Gyllenhaal's daughter in that show, and she was great in that show too. And,
okay.
Sorry, I kept saying Infinity Chase. Sorry, Chase Infinity. My bad.
Okay. Yeah, Chase Infinity there. Oh yeah, she was in that show. Okay, so she was in that Presumed Innocent. So I think she was really great in this. Sean Penn, I think she'd probably be nominated for Best Supporting. I think Best Supporting probably would.
I would give him the Oscar, honestly. I mean, he is genuinely such a detestable person in this movie that like I think this is the best villain performance of the year, at least that I've seen. But yeah, he should get that Oscar probably just sight unseen. But everyone is just so great in this. Like Leo's great, and the thing I just kept going back to in general with this movie is just I really loved how well like developed all the characters were, because in the trailers it makes it seem like Leo is just sort of like a bumbling stoner guy who just happened to be involved back in the day with far left terrorism stuff. But he's a really well developed character, and so is everyone here. You understand all their motivations and the complexity of all the relationships they have with each other. And it really came together in a movie that I thought just was outstanding on pretty much every level. I think this is well deserved of everything, all the praise it got earlier this year. Just to wrap up my thoughts on that, this is absolutely peak cinema. This is an easy 5-star rating for me. This is one of my favorite movies of the year. And, Paul Thomas Anderson, he knows how to make movies. Who'd have thunk it?
Okay. So it's going to be on your best of there. Did you see it with your wife there or no? Or?
And she didn't really seem that interested in this one, to be honest. But
okay.
She saw like bits and pieces of it with me. But yeah, this is an incredible film. Peak cinema for me.
Okay, peak cinema. I ask because I know this movie. I mean, getting a little bit of backlash there, controversy, or just discussion, just about the themes of the movie, and the characterizations of some people in the film, and how they kind of play that out there. So
I definitely think it's worth like a critical analysis on, like when you have a movie that's very steeped in politics, and I think it's I think it's worth discussing and like appraising how it depicts certain political angles and how like repercussions from those politics play out. I think that's definitely worth a discussion.
Okay. So a peek from you for one battle after another.
Yeah.
Right. Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah. I just got one review. Let me do a solo review real quick.
Go for it.
This is another movie I've seen in a lot of other best of lists here. Let me pull up my notes for it. All right. It was on Obama. It was on his favorite movie of the year list there.
Oh, well, we have to listen to Mr. Obama there.
Oh yeah, gotta listen to him, man. Man, I always look forward to the end of the year list, man. Do you think he does those? Do you think his publicist or PR person or staff, or who do you think does those?
I think he does 80% of those lists. I mean, I think there's a couple like maybe his staff saw one or two movies he didn't catch on, but I'd like to think he does most of them.
Yeah, you like to hold on to that belief, just for that a little bit,
Well, I mean, if you're gonna throw your hand in the discussion of the arts, you'd like to think that they participate in the arts.
I think he said with his like albums and stuff like that. I think he said that's a mix of like everybody, like his family and wife and kids and everything. That's why you see like what's that artist's name? Like Bryson Tiller or somebody like that. It's like, okay, he ain't listening to Bryson Tiller. Like that's got to be like his daughter or something. Like he's not listening to people like that. Like
nothing wrong with getting input from your family on stuff like that.
Yeah, So okay. All right. Let me pull this here. All right, so I got a solo review here for a movie. Neil did not get a chance to see this, but I think he'll be interested in this movie.
All right.
So this is a movie called The Secret Agent. Secret Agent here is a movie here, which it's a movie from I believe it's in Portugal. I believe is the director there. It's a Portuguese film here. So I'm going to be kind of vague with it because it's a movie that has a lot of kind of not really all these big twists and turns, but it's a lot of things that develop in the plot there that you really want to go see for yourself and see how kind of the past is, how kind of things play out in it. So the basic setup here is you have Wager Monroe, who people might know. He played Pablo Escobar in Narcos, the Netflix show. He was in that, that's what I recognize him from there. And he's playing a guy named Armando, who's fleeing his past there. He was a technology expert there. And this also is a period piece. It takes place in the 70s. he was a technology expert. He had a falling out with somebody. Due to that fallout, it's led him to kind of being on the run there and being in protective custody. And protective custody, not by the government there, because usually they don't. Usually, when you get into protective custody in a country like this, you're usually running from the government, and you're usually in protective custody from the government. So he's changed his name, changed his look there on the run, and somebody has found out where he is, and these hitmen, they come after him, so he has to evade them as well. He also has a son as well in this, that he also wants to take with him because he's trying to get passports to get out of the country so he can lead his son and himself to safety there with that. But the government's making it very difficult for that and blocking his ability to get new passports there. And so this movie takes place kind of you have a period piece thing, and then also it jumps around in time because you also have present day where you have people there that are listening to recordings of him in modern day there to piece together this story. It's like these I believe they're in school, maybe, or maybe doing some type of research there for it. But yeah, they're doing that, and to try to get listen to all these kind of different recordings to kind of piece together this guy's life to try to understand him better. And yeah, so it's kind of takes place between those two different time periods, and gorgeous. Really, I really like the look of this movie there. Probably some of the best performances I've seen, especially from the lead actor in this movie. And just you are interested all the way to see how things are going to develop and see what's kind of going to happen in this story there. Because I kind of was on the edge of my seat of kind of, is he going to be discovered? Is he not going to be discovered there? I thought that was also incredibly interesting. And much like when we talked about a left-handed girl, a lot of performances in this movie feel like natural performance. They feel like, real people, in this type of situation, which I really love a lot. That's really amazing there with it. And I think that its ability to, kind of have that kind of go on, plus the mix of this kind of deadly kind of hitman type story as well with added to it, also adds so much tension to things. And is he or is he not going to make it out? I think it's very interesting there. It'd be interesting how see people feel about the ending of it, and if people are going to be satisfied by the ending of it, and what is the meaning of this movie, because it may be kind of like a thing where people may not be that satisfied of it, or people may be confused as to, and I'm not even saying I have 100% faith that I know fully like what the movie was trying to say there fully. Just in terms of who is the secret agent? Like, who is that person? Is this person, is that person? Should you even care who the secret agent is at the end of it? Which I thought, so that was kind of interesting there. But yeah, the way things kind of play out in it is very well done. I don't know if he'll be nominated for lead actor for this. I think he should be. I think he's that good in it. This will go on my list of one of my favorite movies of the year for sure. Like I said before the review, this is definitely one of it's been on a lot of best of lists of best movies of 2025 there. And I'm always also interested to check out foreign films as well there. To see films from different countries. I can't remember last time I seen a movie from Portugal before, or a Brazilian film. So that was also a treat there for that. And you have so many good performances. The writing in here is so sharp. And yeah, I absolutely loved and adored this movie a lot. I'd give it a high peak for me with this, and so many kind of interesting kind of things that go on in it. And again, I'm kind of be very vague because I don't want to spill too much of kind of what happens with it. But yeah, I love this quite a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you sold me on this one. I will definitely look for it once it's more widely available. But yeah, I always really like not only foreign films, but also these really tense sort of confined movies where this guy's being hunted and there's a lot of questions about who to trust and how he can like navigate the situation he's in. But you definitely sold me on it, so good job on that.
Yeah, the ending. Yeah, well, actually, I won't even say what movie it reminds me of, because I may be giving too much away there.
Right.
But yeah, I like to see it quite a bit there, with it. So yeah, strong peak for me for Secret Agent there. I was able to catch it in theaters. I was able to catch that. It's probably not playing in theaters anymore, but I was able to kind of catch it there. I could. I mean, it probably will be nominated for best foreign film, but I mean, it's got stiff competition because I hear No Other Choice is really good. I hear that's also very good.
Oh yeah, yeah, because it's like Bong Joon or yeah,
Park
it's
Chan-wook.
the Park Chan Wook, yeah. So that's gonna be tough competition, but I'm glad the movie's good.
Yeah. So yeah, Secret Agent there.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here, and we'll do Princess Bride, and then we'll do the news, and that's it, and we'll get out of here.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Let me pull up a trailer for this and go ahead and get started.
Cool.
Any movies? So, how many more movies you got left before you do your list, or your list is done? It's already
My
done.
list is done. I can't see every movie that comes out, so I had the list I sent you. I'm satisfied with, and yeah, I will see the remainder of the movies in the future and appreciate them as I see them.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting if I'll be able to see all the when they do nominate the Best Picture nominees. If I'm actually gonna be able to see all the Best Picture nominees when they do that. I wonder. I think maybe I've seen the bulk of them already. But it's always a thing to maybe see, like, try and go see all the Best Picture nominees if I can. But yeah,
Right.
I mean, I think most of the nominations are probably going to be One Battle, Sinners,
Maybe Marty Supreme and Hamnet.
yeah, Marty Supreme, Hamnet. That's probably going to be the bulk of the nominations anyway. And then Wicked for a lot of the technical stuff and all that good stuff. So
Yeah, maybe they'll nominate Wicked for Best Picture, or
yeah,
no. So they'll nominate some blockbuster, maybe Superman or something like that for Best
Avatar.
Picture.
Maybe they'll nominate Avatar again.
It's very possible.
All right, people. So we got a retro review on deck for you, and it's going to be for The Princess Bride. The Princess Bride is a movie directed by Rob Reiner. We're doing this movie because Rob Reiner he passed away, unfortunately, there recently. I think allegedly he got murdered by his son. That's still, obviously son's in custody right now. Going to face trial pretty soon. Him and his wife were brutally attacked there and unalived. Yeah, and because of that, decided to take a look back at his filmography. And people, now that he's passed on and taking a look at his legacy and his history in film and his kind of long stamp that he's had on film there and huge commitment to it. Yeah, people are like, man, this guy did a lot of bangers. Rob Reiner. I mean, he had a great streak, probably one of the best streaks any director has ever had in filmmaking. And people were mentioning his 6-year streak from 1986 to 1992. So from 1986, he had Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, and A Few Good Men. So really amazing there with that. And people are going like, wow, has any director had that good of a 6-year streak in their careers? Because when you look at all those movies are classic films. People quote those movies. People do remember those things. So that was huge there. What do you got to say to that there?
Right. It is hard. I have to think about it, but it's hard to imagine any other filmmaker having as good of a 6-year streak as all those movies, because they're all not only fantastic movies in their own right, they're all quotable. They're all always relevant in pop culture discourse and art and film discourse and appreciation for the art form. He really did a hell of a job and left a really great mark on cinema as an art form, and he will dearly be missed for sure.
Yeah. And have you seen? Did you already see Princess Bride before this?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it a couple of times in my life, but yes, I've seen it before.
Okay, this was my first time. I had not seen Princess Bride before there. I've seen a lot of the references to Princess Bride. People have done that. In fact, Deadpool, they did like a reference to Princess Bride when they did.
It's impossible to miss Princess Bride references in film at any point.
So it's a fantasy story there. You have it where a grandfather is comforting a sick child here, his sick grandson. And this is played by Fred Savage, child star Fred Savage there. So he's comforting him there, and he's like, okay, to make you feel better, he's sick. It's like, well, I don't want to make you feel better. I'll tell you this story. And he tells this fantasy story there of you have a beautiful woman and a beautiful man there, and this farm boy who becomes a pirate, who ends up saving the love of his life from this, evil kind of king, as always these stories goes there, who's been betrothed to marry him. And this, you have Carrie Elways in this, who plays the main character there, and the Robin Wright, who is the Princess Bride herself there. That's what you got there. And we look at the cast of this as well, kind of a who's who of kind of some recognizable kind of character actors as well. As also some other names. You have like Mandy Patinkin is also in this. Wallace Shawn is also in this. Christopher Guest is in this. Wrestling fans, you got Andre the Giant.
Of course, you got to reference Andre. He's like one of the best parts of this whole movie.
Yeah. You got him in this. You have Chris Sheridan is also in this as well. Who plays the evil king there, who very much when I saw this movie, it's like, oh, so this is where that look for the king and Shrek movie came from. Like, oh, okay, got you there. So you kind of got that. But yeah, just a story of like this farm boy who, has always been in love with this girl, and he, goes and rescues her there. So pretty simple plot there, that you have for this movie. Neil, what are your thoughts, man? Princess Bride.
So you are right that this is a pretty, when you really think about it, this is a pretty standard fantasy story. There's not much on page that really separates this from like dozens of other fantasy stories, but it's really the characters and the comedic writing that makes this so fantastic. Like you mentioned before, the entire cast is outstanding, but Carrie Elwes is a fantastic leading man, and Robin Wright is a fantastic leading woman, and they have great chemistry together. And the adventures that they go on while evading this evil king, running into the Inigo Montoya and Andre the Giant, is just, it's very comedic, it's very witty and charming and lighthearted, and it's just really all these elements really come together to make this fantasy story that is not really doing anything that new on the page, but it's just so charming and delightful to experience that you kind of just forget about it and just get wrapped up in this swashbuckling, exciting adventure with all these really likable and lovable characters.
Nice there. It kind of combines kind of the humor, because it kind of is playing it straight, but then kind of also kind of plays into the tropes of a lot of these fantasy stories. Like you have something maybe like Mighty Python and the Holy Grail there, but it's more playing it straight that you would see of like a classic kind of fairy tale there, which I thought was really good how they're able to balance those things there. And speaking about a lot about Rob Reiner's filmography, about how he was able to do all these kind of different genres of film. He did a horror film, horror thriller, he did a romantic comedy, he did a legal drama, he did a mockumentary with This Is Spinal Tap. He dabbled in fantasy with The Princess Bride and comedy. That's also like, somebody, how often do you see a director dabble in all these different genres like that? That's also something to really be like astonished at, really.
Very, very rarely. And what was interesting about all those films in Rob Reiner's catalog is that not only are they totally different genres, but there's not a lot of really signature authorial. They all play very differently from each other. It's not like, his comedies are very different than his horror films, and he really took the time to adapt his styles and sensibilities to the genres that he was taking part at. And, at least to me, that's the most impressive part about that 6-year stretch you mentioned, because he has really sound fundamentals that he just applied to so many different kinds of movies and tones and actors and everything. Is quite impressive.
Yeah. And you being a fan of this already there, is it kind of one of your favorite movies? I know a lot of people say like, for a lot of people, this was like, some of their favorite movies ever. Is it kind of one of your favorite movies ever?
I don't know if I'd put it on like the absolute like pedestal of like my favorite movies ever, but I think this is just a really great piece of filmmaking. I think just from a comedy standpoint, it's got the lighthearted, swashbuckling touches that you kind of look for in these sort of simple fantasy stories, and it just really does an amazing job with its cast and its all the elements is assembled, and it's just so good at everything it tries to do. It's one of those. I do think it is like a perfect film because everything it tries to do, it succeeds at just exponentially. So I will say it's not one of my absolute favorites, but I do think it is a perfect film for what it is doing.
Mm. Comedy works really well here. There's, of course, a lot of classic bits here with that, like with the whole scene where he's with Wallace Shawn, and they're trying to decide. He's trying to decide which wine he should drink. I think that's that's a really good scene. That's well done.
That's, that's a great comedy scene. Just like you could put that scene in any movie and it'd be like the funniest scene in the movie.
Yeah. Which yeah, I think that really works. Andre the Giant, obviously his physical presence there, being such a large man, that, kind of works really well in this kind of setting. And then yeah, I think he has some good moments there for him and what he does. Because what Carrie always does, he runs into these kind of bandits who end up kidnapping the princess because they want a reward, and so he has like these kind of merry band of people that are with him, Mandy Patinkin and Andre the Giant, and he's kind of like the leader of them, and then he orders and bosses them around a lot, and then Carrie always like you know makes his way through the gang there, knocking each one off there. Doesn't kill Mandy Patinkin, doesn't kill Andre the Giant, but he ends up killing Wallace Shawn there. He ends up killing him. But yeah, I think great cast all around there and able to really play off each other really well. Um, and I think that's also one of the keys to this movie as well. Because, like I said, simple story, but it's all about the execution. How well are you executing the actual storytelling, the actual direction of it? Because not a long movie, only an hour and 40 something minutes. And in that hour and 40 something minutes, you can able to get so much characterization from everybody involved. And even when we cut back to when they have present day here with the grandson and grandfather of it telling the story, I think that's a really fun moment when they do that. What do you think about a lot of those moments?
I thought that just the entire cast was really well put together, and they have like just such great comedic timing, and even the framing device of the Fred Savage and his grandpa was really interesting, just because the whole premise of this is like, yuck, I don't want to hear a romance story, but then as the story goes along, you kind of see this kid opening up to like having a new sort of experience in this fictional world, and that and combined with like just the charm of like all the actors in the story and everything going on really kind of made this kind of a poignant movie, because at the same time where all these adventures are going on, this kid is having his mind opened up, and I thought that was a really kind of sweet touch to add to it, in addition to all the great comedy and character writing that is involved in this movie. Just so many quotable lines, and it's a reason for it is because it's all just very well done.
Do you have a favorite moment in the film?
I think okay, the two you already mentioned, the which cup has the poison in it, but then the initial sword fight between Wesley and Inigo Montoya when they're trying to get to know each other, I thought that was really charming, just because you have these two like swashbuckling heroes really trying to one up each other and figure out what everyone is all about, and it's just a really great sort of dance of swords and character wit going about that I just thought was great to see.
Mm, yeah. And this is a little bit, I'll show a little bit of it there as well. Which is kind of a fun moment there. And who doesn't love a good swashbuckling type story there as well? Good old kind of sword fight there.
Right.
Who doesn't love that? So let me show a little bit of it here.
How's it become, sir? I admit it, you are better than I am. Then why are you smiling? Because I know something you don't know. And what is that? I am not left-handed. You're amazing. I ought to be after 20 years. Oh, there's something I ought to tell you. Tell me. I'm not left-handed either.
Which yeah, that's a fun moment there in the movie.
Right, like that entire scene could be put in like an Errol Flynn Robin Hood movie, and like nobody would ever like mistake. No one would bat an eye at it. It's just that well done.
Mm. What will be your final thoughts? Rating Princess Bride.
Final thoughts are: this is a perfect movie for what it is trying to do. It combines action, fantasy, and comedy in a really heartfelt and really poignant way. I think this is rightfully remembered as one of the best movies of the 80s, one of Rob Reiner's best movies, one of the best movies of everyone's career who is involved in this. And it's rightfully remembered as a classic. So this is cinema. What can I tell
Wow.
you? This is just perfect.
This is cinema. I'm not going to go that high with it, but my first time watching it, I did enjoy it. I do get why people think that this is a big classic film there. I'd kind of give it more of a peak for me
Okay.
for that there. But it's definitely heavily rewatchable. Definitely a movie you can probably watch 2, 3 times in a row and probably don't get tired of it, which is a great quality to have for a film, I think. And we already remarked about the fantastic cast that you have in this movie here as well. But yeah, this was, a good fun fantasy film here. Kind of makes you, want more of these. I think kind of more in there. Can't think of the last time I think you had Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons is a fun fantasy film.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a fair comparison to that.
Yeah. So a peak for me and a this is cinema for Neil for
Yeah.
Princess Bride. Awesome there. Good stuff. Guess that's his last news story, and then we're gonna be heading out.
All right,
And
cool.
and then we'll be rating somebody after this. Let's see, Kara Fly's on right now. Double Toast is on right now.
Oh,
Uh,
really?
Good old Double Toasted there. They're doing a review for Marty Supreme and Stranger Things, chapter 2, part 2.
Cool.
Yeah. And you said you're not interested in any more Stranger Things. You're done.
No, I'm kind of done with Stranger Things. Hope it's good though. I hope the fans like it.
Seems like they're not. I don't know. It seems like I
Oh
don't know. I don't
boy.
know if it's because I'm liking funny memes about how bad it is, and now I'm getting fed that through the algorithm, and then that's why I think maybe people. So I don't know if people are really into it or not. It seems like people. The last thing was like I saw people talk about Will coming out, so he came out
Right.
there, and then people talk about Millie Bobby Brown, like she just doesn't look like she cares anymore. Like she's just kind of got a face of just like I just don't really care to be here. So yeah, you kind of got that going on. But yeah, so all right. Let's get into this. So there was some boxing going on, man.
Yep.
Out there.
There's a couple of fights going on.
There was the Andrew Tate fight. There was the Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua fight there. We'll do the Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul fight first there. Did you watch it live or did you just call it the highlights there?
I only saw the highlights. I'm honestly not that knowledgeable about combat sports. I am interested in it, but I'm not knowledgeable about it. But the highlights were definitely interesting to watch in some ways. I'm not entirely sure were intentional, but interesting nonetheless.
So Jake Paul, he faced off against Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, former champion, boxing champion, to my understanding, also former Olympic gold medalist there. Also a guy that is very much bigger than Jake Paul there. Anthony Joshua, I think, is 6'6", 240, 250. Jake Paul is only, I think, 6'1", around there. And then I think he weighs about 200 something pounds.
Whoa.
So yeah, so he weighs about that. So yeah, he weighs about that much. So people are going like, and this was also a change in the fight. Because initially he was supposed to fight Tank Davis. Tank Davis there, who's also a big time boxer. He's a pretty famous name in boxing. I don't know that much along with you. Combat sports, I follow it here and there. But Tank Davis, who's much smaller, he's 5'5", cruiserweight. Usually he goes about there. I think he typically weighs, let me see what he typically kind of weighs there for him. So typically about 135 pounds. So big difference, big jump up there for Jake Paul there. So he was looking for somebody to except the fight after Tank Davis had to drop out, because Tank Davis, I believe, had to drop out because he has domestic violence cases.
Oh.
So he had to drop out because of that. And then because of that, then Anthony Joshua was like, well, hell, I'll take the fight. Sure. I mean, if he dropped out, I'll take a good payday. And that's why you have that. And then people are going like, I mean, Jake Paul is pretty crazy for getting in the ring with a guy that obviously he's much bigger than him, has much more experience than him, is known for his hitting power. They're a guy that is a super heavyweight and known to really lay people out, knock people out there. The match lasted 6 rounds. I did end up seeing the event live. A lot of it, they're doing like these Netflix things. So I was like, okay, well, might as well, sure. And then sometimes with these things, they do have some good undercard fights. And I will say, to Jake Paul's credit, he does a lot with the female boxing element there. Like sometimes the women's fights are even better than the men's fights. They got a lot of that going on. So sometimes undercard fights are pretty good. And obviously people kind of watch these things. I don't know. I think the views are decreasing. I think somebody showed like these aren't the same amount of views that he got with the Mike Tyson fight. They're lower than that. And that one was also on Netflix as well. But yeah, the views are kind of, so I don't know how much returning interest people have, because people want to see, because people don't like Jake Paul, they want to see him get knocked out. They want to see him.
Well, the big difference is that like Mike Tyson is literally one of the most famous athletes in the world and was like the Muhammad Ali of our generation. So like the interest of seeing Jake Paul fight him is going to definitely be better than like anyone that's like more of a contemporaneous fighter. But yeah, like when you're reading the stats of all the people that he could have fought versus who he did fight, this is it's borderline malpractice though, because like all these guys are like super out of their weight. They're not even in the same weight class as Jake Paul is. So that's kind of what is a lot of the criticism for Jake Paul has been when he won his fight against Mike Tyson and fought against other people, is that he's always fighting people who are not in their weight class or not really evenly matched, and B, are not in the same combat specialty, because like Jake Paul is like a boxer, yet he's fighting a lot of guys that are like UFC style grapplers, so it's not really an even match of skill. And C, they're guys that are sort of out of their prime, even though 50-year-old Mike Tyson can kick both of our asses 10 ways to Sunday, he's not the same guy he was in the 90s. So it's just kind of interesting to see, Jake Paul have to fight a guy who is more on his level and see what the results are. And we saw what the results were, unfortunately for him.
And you saw a lot of this, a lot of him going to his knees. I mean, he was trying to do like some MMA double leg takedown, it seemed like, where it's a lot of dropping to his knees like that, like hugging him, doing a lot of that. And this fight, it did last 6 rounds. So maybe for some people, it lasted a lot longer than they thought it would. Maybe they thought it'd end in like the 3rd round or 4th round. So also, I guess it's debatable if he did win some rounds. I guess maybe he won. Some people say he won the 4th round. Things like that.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's just too much of that fight was just him trying to like stagger up on his feet and like do these grapple moves, which like, in a UFC fight would be, all right, because that's the sport. But like in a boxing match, it's just not good. Not a good look from him.
Yeah, so you kind of had that. So, I mean, it's, you had Logan Paul, who's the brother, who said like, yeah, I mean, I think he won the first 3, and I get that that's your brother. I mean, sure, I guess, you gotta ride for your brother, I guess, but it's like, bro, he did not win the first 3 of those rounds. That is some bold claims there. Yeah, so he did not do that. So it's just, but do you respect Jake Paul for getting in with a guy that, being this big, being out of his weight class? Do you respect that? Or,
I mean, in the sense that he got in the ring to fight him, yeah, but it's just not an even fight though, because like they're not even in the same weight class. So it's almost like, what are you doing fighting this guy? And then, look, I'd be knocked out before the first 10 seconds in a fight with this guy. But at the same time, when you're like on your knees trying to grapple him and like you're spitting out your mouth guard and like getting knocked the hell out, right afterwards. Like I I respect him for getting in the ring as a fighter, but like I don't really respect the actual fight. It seemed a little, you know, seemed very uncouth and just not worthy of the sport, honestly.
Yeah, I think I follow some fight creators on YouTube, things like that. There's a guy named Luke Thomas. I looked at his video about it. There's also a guy named Eye Patch Wolf there who also did a video. Oh, you know Eye Patch Wolf?
Yeah, I saw that video before coming on this show to research this.
Yeah, and he said the fight was pretty embarrassing and an embarrassment to boxing there. And Luke Thomas, his kind of commentary was similar to Eye Patch Wolf in that, I mean, on one hand, the sentiment that it's like, hey, well, you got to respect Jake Paul for getting in the ring and doing it, and you got to have that. But then also, in the same time, like you were saying, it's kind of like, well, I mean, you knew you weren't going to win this. I mean, you knew there's a
Mhm.
strong chance you weren't going to win this. Clearly, you're outmatched. The opponent's bigger than you, and if you're going to be doing a lot of kind of just running around and not really trying to fight them, and people say, oh, but Floyd does that. He does a lot of doing it, but from again, I'm not a professional watcher of the sport or anything like that. But for some people who seem like who's watching Jake Paul box, it's kind of like the way he moves around the ring is not of a experienced boxer yet. It's not of a guy who really knows what he's doing and knows his angles and knows how to move around the ring. And also, they were saying with the ring size, this is bigger than your average ring
I
that
heard
you
that
have
too.
that you had it there as well. So I mean, like, so you said on one end you do kind of give it to Jake Paul for getting in there. You respect that aspect of it, but do you think it's kind of like, well, you kind of knew you weren't going to win, and kind of is a waste of time? Is that what you kind of?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, if I almost feel like he should be like a UFC fighter more than a boxer because like when he from what I observed when he's like on his heels, he goes to grappling moves and that's just not what boxing is. And I just think he should either like, either train more seriously and fight people that are actually like on his level, like maybe get a guy who's like maybe an up and comer fighter who like doesn't have like a real track record and like maybe build up your skills there. But like let's just stop with these whole like I'm gonna fight this contemporaneous fighter or Mike Tyson or any of these like established guys that have been in the sport for years. Like get some like build your resume up a little bit more before going to big time stuff.
Mm. Um, and so the times that he's fought legitimate boxers, guys who do the sport of boxing, and I mean, respect to Mike Tyson, but he's not a boxer anymore. Like Mike Tyson's almost 60 years old. He walks with a cane sometimes, like he's not
Mm,
really a boxer anymore there.
I mean,
Um,
like I said, he could kick our ass like in 10 different ways, like before 10 seconds is up, but still, you're right.
yeah. So he fought this other guy called Tommy Fury, who's the half brother of Tyson Fury. And again, from listening to some other people who are experts in it, he's not the most experienced or best boxer. It's just he's decent at it. Just like he's on maybe the same level as Jake Paul's at when he fought him the first time, when he fought him once before, and then it's kind of like okay, he beat him. Tommy Fury did beat him. So the two times he's lost, it's been against guys that were legitimate boxers, Anthony Joshua and
Mhm.
Tommy Fury. And it's just like, where does he go from here? Is he gonna fight the more of the influencer boxer type people, or is he actually going to go like, okay, now that I've faced off against this guy, I think he says he wants to face Canelo. He wants to face him. I don't know if Canelo, if it's worth it for him to take that fight, if they're going to offer him enough money. But you know, I don't know if if he would or should do that. But I mean,
I
what's your thoughts there?
mean, he probably should just because like he'll probably win, but at the same time, if it's an easy paycheck and Jake Paul is willing to fight him, knowing he probably will lose, I mean, why not? I mean, I don't know, maybe it's a bit beneath him, but at the same time, if the money is there and it's legit, sure. But yeah, like Jake Paul just needs to build up his resume a bit more. Like, this is not supposed to, boxing is not an easy thing to do. Like, everyone's going to have to get their ass kicked and like learn from bad fights and just build up. But this is just trying to do too much at once.
Yeah. So I think Anthony Joshua from this fight, I think they were saying he made like 90 something million from this fight there for doing it. And I think after this, he wants to go on and fight Tyson Fury. He wants to fight him. And Anthony Joshua's 36. He's 36 years old. So he's still kind of in the prime, I think, for boxing there, in mid 30s there for that. I don't know how box office that fight would be. I don't know how many people go see it, but it might be. I mean, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, some big names. They might want to see those two guys go at it with that. But yeah, and then from that fight, and then, if he's going to continue to fight these legitimate boxers, how much is he going to get hurt? Because in this fight, he broke his jaw in 2 places.
Yeah, those photos are like nasty of that jaw that got broken.
And this was the memes of it have been pretty kind of funny of this, but yeah, I mean, you see that, yeah, this was it, boom, and yeah, just broke his jaw right there, 2 places. People were commending him though, because he said like, well, at least you didn't get knocked out. I mean, people were like, hey, you got a strong jaw and you didn't get knocked out there. That was maybe kind of impressive with that.
Yeah, but why did he take his mouth guard out? That's the thing. I'm just like still confounded about. Like, why did you take your mouth guard out?
Oh man, did he take it out before this or during it or like during the fight or
at some point? Well, he was doing like, come on, man, like, and like spit out his mouth guard or whatever. And like, granted, I don't really know if that would have like saved you from getting your jaw broken, but like, I would have to imagine it would mitigate some of the damage that would have happened.
Yeah, but yeah, it was just like that was, I mean, a hard hit from a guy that does hit hard. I mean, and you could tell. I mean, he was really tired. I mean, he was really exhausted. He was dropping his hands. He was stumbling at one point. Jake Paul was like in the ring. So obviously he got gassed out pretty quick. And people were saying like, why Anthony Joshua? Like, why didn't he end the fight earlier? Could he have ended the fight earlier? Do you think Anthony Joshua was just going like, well, maybe I'll just let the guy tire himself out and then I'm just going to go in for the kill? Or do you think maybe?
I'm sure that was a strategy. I mean, it's a legit boxing strategy, and you yourself, you don't want to like throw all your haymakers and in the first or second round. You gotta like, do the dance of fists, if you will, and figure out who your fighter is and what he's trying to do. But he probably just like let Paul tire himself out and went for the kill afterwards, and it certainly went that way.
But yeah, and you could just see like he's like right there. People had that moment where he's got that smile on his face. Anthony Joshua, he was like, "All right, here it comes." He's like, "Oh yeah, this is easy right here." Like
he definitely downloaded Jake Paul right then and there. It's like, "All right, got your ass." Whap.
Yeah, I was like, "All right, here comes the big fist." But yeah, that was a moment. People like freeze framing it. Right here, like look at his jaws just completely like almost on the other side.
Lord, that's a hard hit.
Yeah, 2 places. They had to put a titanium plate in it in his jaw. So that's. I mean, do you want to go through all this? I mean, if you're gonna be facing guys like this and top level I mean, the punishment you're gonna take. I mean, is it worth it there?
I legit worry about his health. Like when he heals, which will be a long time. Let's not kid ourselves. I legit worry about his ability to do the sport again. Because like if his jaw is like hanging by string and hope, I don't think it's a good idea for him to box again, to be quite honest.
Yeah. Some people said that, I mean, boxers who have broken their jaw, they have come back, they've boxed again, so they have done it. So it's not impossible for him to come back. But you say, yeah, it's gonna be a long road to recovery for him to do that. And yeah, I mean, and people are celebrating because obviously, like I said, people don't like Jake Paul. I mean, how do you personally feel about the guy, real?
I mean, I think he's a bit of a twerp, to be honest, but I'm not going to celebrate him getting his jaw broken. I mean, I'm not a fan, but you know, that's a really harsh thing to endure. So I'm not gonna kick the guy while he's down on that.
Mm. So like I said, I mean, I do respect him getting in the ring, doing it, facing off a guy there. I also think that I don't know how much we're still looking at because he's been boxing for at least 5 years now.
Right.
And people are still looking at it through the prism of he's a YouTube influencer Disney kid who got into boxing. So it's like, oh, well, you got to give him a lot of grace because he just got into it and he's doing it. So, well, of course he's going to lose against it. But isn't it commendable that he went 6 rounds with Anthony Joshua, this guy that was Olympic gold medalist and champion boxer? Like, you got to give him credit for that. And it's like, I mean, do you? I mean, how much credit you really got to give him there?
Yeah, it's hard for me to like really give him that much credit because like yes, getting in the ring and doing boxing is a very tough thing for anyone to do, but at the same time, I just keep going back to the resume building, the fact that it just seems like he's like bought his way to be a voice at the table in the sport because it's like how many guys who have fought for 5 years get a chance to fight someone with the clout of Mike Tyson? Like nobody aside from anyone who like buys the voice into the room.
Yeah. And did you ever think with these Jake Paul fights it was like rigged or anything, or like any of them were rigged, or do you think this one could be rigged? I don't know.
I don't think I don't think this one was because I don't think you would have rigged a fight if he was gonna break your jaw like that. But and with not to go down too far a conspiracy rabbit hole, it wouldn't really surprise me if the Tyson fight was rigged because it's like it's Mike Tyson. Like a 60-year-old Mike Tyson is still one of the scariest guys you could ever fight in your life, and he's losing to Jake Paul, whose only real fights are against like guys who are way out of his weight class or way past their prime. Come on, something's up here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, people say it's rigged and then watch the same shit again. They still watching the fights going, it's rigged. It's like, bro, you're still watching the fights. I mean, with the Mike Tyson one, I don't know if that was. I mean, people said after this fight, after he lost to Anthony Joshua, people were like, "Oh yeah, the Mike Tyson was definitely rigged." I definitely believe that now. But I think I don't know. Mike Tyson's old. He's an old guy. He was hurt. I
Right.
think going into the fight, I think he had like some ruptured ulcers or something like that.
Yeah,
Going
he
in,
did.
so he was injured going into the fight. And yeah, I mean, I saw the clips leading up to the fight of him training and him, he's doing all the speed bags, he's doing all the practice thing, but that's like 15-second, 30-second bursts, you know.
Very fair point. Very fair point.
And anybody, you can look good 15, 30 seconds, but this is rounds in boxing where it goes 2-3 minutes with that, which is a different story. And I do think Jake Paul, to his credit, I think he took it easy on Mike Tyson. I think he could have hurt him worse because I think Mike Tyson just wasn't that mobile. He just wasn't like, he was pretty stationary most of the time and he didn't really move around a lot. And yeah, so I think he kind of did take it easy on him. He could have hurt him. And there was some scary moments in that fight where he kind of did look like he was going to get hurt bad. And I think
and you don't want to be known as the guy that like injured Mike Tyson in the ring. Like you don't want that on your record in the sport.
Yeah. But I think a guy that, I don't know, you said you weren't that happy about Jake Paul getting his jaw broken, but maybe if this guy got his jaw broken, maybe you would have been happier about it.
Fair. Yeah, I may have a slightly different opinion about our next fight in question.
So you had Andrew Tate there, influencer guy, Manosphere, Red Pill guy there, enemy of the Matrix, who he also had his boxing match. He also had a kickboxing match there. He went and he faced off against a guy named Chase Demore. Now, Andrew Tate is a guy that is a former kickboxing champion, I think a 4-time kickboxing champion. And he's 39 years old. He's facing off against this guy named Chase Demore, who's like an influencer reality star. Like he's been in things like Love Island and Too Hot to Handle, I think, or Too Hot to Handle was the reality show he was on. And
is it a requirement that every boxer be a social media influencer of some regard these days? Like, You know, maybe Inoue is like the only one, but like every major fight is like some YouTube or reality show guy or something. It's just funny.
Yeah, and again, to listen to people talk about this fight, the Chase Demore guy is not like an expert fighter. He's not, he doesn't really have that much experience. He's been doing like the fighting thing for a minute, but he's not super experienced, super talented in the realm of fighting. And even somebody was showing like his highlights in fighting, and it's kind of like very goofy, very awkward. Kind of tunes type punches that he was doing on
Right.
on Andrew Tate there. Um, but he ended up beating him. He didn't knock him out or anything like that. There were also moments in that fight against Andrew Tate where he ended up like Jake Paul, where he was on his knees, at his crotch of Chase Demore, hugging him, leaning on each other. But yeah, there were a lot of moments like that. But it went to decision, and then he ended up winning. He won by decision there.
Right.
Did you catch any highlights of this fight at all?
I didn't. Yeah, just mainly highlights, but it's mainly just to see the results of Andrew Tate getting knocked the hell out, which I personally greatly enjoy seeing that happen to a guy like him. Very, very worthy of those punches. But yeah, I thought I thought the his opponent did pretty good. Not like you said, not the most like technically like proficient or masterful combat, but a good fight nonetheless. Unorthodox and all.
Yeah, so this was a lot of him throughout the fight too, like pretty much like that on his knees. And Chase Demore is bigger than him. I think he's taller than him, weighs more than him as well. And, it's just funny that, after the fight, Andrew Tate was like, well, no excuses. I lost, and give credit to Chase Moore and what he did and everything like that. And it seemed like when he says like making no excuses, but then afterward he was kind of making excuses. He was like, well, I'm old and I didn't really train that hard and all this. And, I was in a Romanian jail and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay. And so, all that. And so it seemed like he did was making excuses, and seems like he's continuing to making excuses there, explaining, why, well, it's actually better that he won. He needed it more than I did and everything like that.
Some real beta male shit there, Andrew. Get your act together. Follow your own advice. Get up.
But I think people, you saw how like women were standing Anthony Joshua after his fight with Jake Paul there. Not really so much the case with Chase Demore there. Maybe because it was a bigger fight there, the
Right.
Jake Paul fight there, but also because Chase Demore, after he beat Andrew Tate, he did, say like, hey, I love this guy, and this guy saved my life, and I was about to end my life, and he saved me, and I don't care what anybody has to say about him. I love this guy. Let me see if I can pull that up there. Because so he went on, people were like, oh god, this guy's a fucking loser too. He's a dweeb too. So I was like, I can't root for this guy.
Yeah, that's a very interesting choice of words given who Andrew Tate is. Is what I will say about that.
Okay, and he was crying and everything too, which was like, damn, bro. So this was the clip.
Go ahead.
Let me share it right here.
The hardest guy I've ever fought in my life. This is Corbin. I have all the respect in the world for this man. This man literally pulled me out of a suicide, man. I was gonna kill myself after that first fight. And this man worked every single day on his podcast. Told me if I do that shit, man, I don't care what anybody says about this guy. He's a fucking legend, man. Legend. Respect, brother. Thank you so much.
There you go. There you go.
Like you do realize this guy is in jail for like human trafficking, right? Like what are you doing?
Yeah, still ongoing to my knowledge, the case and everything like that, still very much ongoing. So yeah, so that was so well, I'm glad he's still with us. Glad he didn't, end his life. So there's that.
Right. No, of course. It's look, I'm obviously not a fighter. I can't comment on the guy's emotions or whatever, but I'm glad he's here, if nothing else.
Yeah. But it's just funny that people pulling up all Andrew Tate's tweets, talking about if you lose, you're a loser, all that stuff like that. And then him also trying to compare, it seemed like he was trying to compare his fight to the Jake Paul fight of like, well, look who I had to go against. It's like Jake Paul went against a gold medalist, former champion boxer, and you went against Chase Demore, bro, like a guy that's a reality TV star. Like it's not.
I mean, Love Island is a really fertile breeding ground for like boxers, apparently. So maybe Mr. Tate is onto something. But
and here's Ariel Hawani. Like this is him talking about the sentiments that Andrew Tate had about him kind of comparing the fights there.
Man, commenting on other fighters. And the best part is the cope. And look, I have respect for everyone who steps through the ropes. I don't care if it's misfits, amateur, pro, you're a veteran, you're a rookie. But him trying to break it down like what he did against Chase and what Jake did against Anthony are two of the same things is hilarious to me. Like to describe Chase in the same breath, with all due respect, as Anthony freaking Joshua, misfits champion. Jake went in there against Anthony Joshua. These two things are not like each other.
well said. Couldn't have put it better myself.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the fight there with. But it was people loved it, man. Good weekend, man. Jake Paul lost, Andrew Tate lost for people, so people had a good time with that.
Couldn't have happened to a better person than Mr. Tate is what I will leave it at.
So that was 2 fights, Jake Paul, Andrew Tate there. Awesome stuff. We'll head out of here. Thank you so much. Thank you, Neil.
Of course. Happy to be here.
One more time, man. What can people find you? What you got going on? What you got coming up next?
All right. Everyone can find me at Daphneil at Letterboxd, Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, and the PlayStation Network. Come talk to me about movie opinions and why my opinions are wrong. I welcome everyone commenting and engaging with stuff. So that's all I'm doing right now. I've just been writing my best films of the year list, and I look forward to discussing with you later this week. And hope you have a good week yourself.
Thank you. What day are you available? You said not this Wednesday, right? That's why you did Sunday. So the Wednesday.
Oh yeah. I think I'm available either Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday. Any one of those days.
Okay. Are you available next Sunday?
Yeah, I'm available next Sunday.
Okay. I'll talk to you about next Sunday then, and we'll do the best of then.
Sounds good to me.
Best of then. My next show is tomorrow. I'll be Sage from Rated M for Immaturity there. No show Wednesday, no show Thursday, but Friday I'll be with Dusk. I got a lot of stuff to do with Dusk. I got Marty Supreme. Are you gonna watch Marty Supreme?
At some point I am. It looks really good, and I like the Safdie brothers directing. I know it's just one of them, but I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, Marty Supreme, Anaconda, Song Sung Blue, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and We Buried the Dead. So that'll be our first movie when we review We Buried the Dead, first movie review of January from a movie in 2026.
Well, I hope those are good. All right, everybody, take care. Stay tuned. Out of here. Right. Bye, everyone. Bye.